Chapter 294. Yi Tianyun took over Yi Qingshuan's position. This action attracted the attention of many Spirit Clan members, and they were all very surprised. Could it be that Yi Tianyun could repair this master-level divine rune? Just as they were about to ask, Yi Tianyun had already begun to repair it. His speed was even faster than Yi Qingshuan's, especially because he was more energetic, so the repair was continuous, and there was no need to worry about it breaking. What is this situation? Big brother, he can repair this master-level divine rune. Yi Wan'er felt that she was about to faint. The impact was too great. To be able to repair a master-level divine rune, although it did not mean that he was definitely at the level of a divine rune master, it definitely meant that he was extremely close to it, or had already entered the beginner level. This time, the original high-level dual professions had once again increased by a large margin. Not only was he a divine rune master, but he was also a fourth-grade alchemist. How did he cultivate? Elder Yin was dumbfounded. He originally wanted to recover, but now that he saw Yi Tianyun's situation, he was dumbfounded and forgot what he was supposed to do. Yi Tianyun did not pay attention to their gazes, but continued to repair the divine rune. The difficulty of repairing a divine rune was not just a little bit higher than a fifth-grade divine rune, but several times, or even more than 10 times harder. There was a difficulty in repairing, but it was still acceptable. At least it was not inscribing a divine rune that was more difficult. The key was that he could not use his innate talent, lest he expose his heaven's eye. However, he had already exposed his identity to Yi Qingshuan, and while there was no one around, he took the opportunity to say it. A simple sentence was enough for him. Isn't the level of your divine rune too high? And you also know alchemy? Yi Qingshuan's tone suddenly changed a lot, as if she had become an old friend, and asked softly beside him. Yi Tianyun could see that Yi Qingshuan's favorable impression of him had suddenly soared to the level of more than 200. Originally, their favorable impression was not low, but because he did not show his true face, his favorable impression of him had always fluctuated around 100, and he could be considered as a friend. However, after his identity was exposed, the situation was completely different. In addition to the previous stacking, his favorability points shot up to 300. If I could use the third eye, the effect would be even more amazing, Yi Tianyun said with a faint smile. I don't think you told anyone about this, did you? How would I dare to say it? If I say it, my position as the saintess will be in trouble. Of course, there's no harm in saying it now. I'm just worried that your problem will be exposed. Yi Qingshuan smiled faintly and said, if you can't hold on, then use the heavenly eye. I can still handle the situation. Yi Qingshuan's words were within Yi Tianyun's expectations. If Yi Tianyun knew that her innate gift was given to an outsider, Yi Tianyun would definitely be in trouble. Therefore, this must be kept a secret. How could such a small problem trouble me? When I saved you, you said that you couldn't break it, but didn't I still break it? Yi Tianyun smiled, and his hands did not stop. He continued to repair the divine inscription. You really have a lot of ideas. When I heard that the benefactor my sister brought was surnamed Yi, I thought of you at that time. But after seeing you, I found that it was not you at all. Now it seems that I was wrong. You don't even show your true face. Yi Qingshuan glared at him and snorted. You still hid it from me. Did you deliberately watch me make a fool of myself? I don't have time to tell you. My identity is a bit special now. If it is exposed, I'm afraid it will be a fatal disaster. Yi Tianyun said helplessly. They were all talking through sound transmission, so the others could not hear what they were talking about. Special identity? Yi Qingshuan was a little confused, but she did not ask further. Instead, she rolled her eyes at him and said, no matter what, you hid it from me. Big sister, I didn't do it on purpose. Besides, didn't I come to help you? Your elder almost didn't let me in. Otherwise, I wouldn't know how to meet you. Yi Tianyun said helplessly. Speaking of which, you said before that if you were still alive, you would marry me. While he was repairing the sacred sigil, he did not forget to tease her a little. Yi Qingshuan's face instantly turned red. She immediately snorted and said, you wish. As the holy lady, how can I marry someone? If you can become the king of the spirit tribe, I can consider it. Yi Tianyun looked at her blushing face. He didn't expect that the saintess would be so shy like this. No matter what, At least I am qualified to help you. Tianyin smiled. Yes, I really can't imagine it. Time has passed so quickly. Yi Qingxian thought back to the young and inexperienced youth. She did not expect that in less than a year, he had already reached this level. She could not even react. Initially, she thought that Tianyin would need at least a few years to be able to help her. She did not expect that in less than a year, he could already help her. He was simply a monster. Soon, with Tianyun's help, the Master Sacred Sigil was repaired. When the last stroke was finished, the entire Sacred Sigil hummed and released a dazzling light, proving that the Sacred Sigil had been completely repaired. After the Sacred Sigil was repaired, the entire pagoda released a faint light, and it was more stable than before. However, this was only a part of it. Tianyin quickly went to repair the other Sacred Sigil. His repair speed was quite shocking. It was as if he did not know fatigue as he began to repair the other Sacred Sigil. His experience also soared, because the Sacred Sigil here were all high-grade Sacred Sigil. Repairing it gave him a lot of experience. Most importantly, the experience would increase according to his level. It would not be too low. It's repaired. After Tianyin stopped, he took a deep breath. His forehead was full of sweat, and at the same time, the sound of the system rang in his ears. Ding! Successfully repaired a 5th-grade Divine Imprint. Reward: 300,000 experience points, 500 Divine Imprint proficiency points. Successfully completed quest, Save Spirit Race. Quest 2, Help Spirit Race Repair Divine Rune. Reward: 10 million EXP. 10. 000 Crazy Point 10. 000 Divine Rune Mastery. 50 Spirit Race Favorability. Ding! Congratulations to player Tianyin for successfully breaking through to level 3 of Core Transformation Stage. A series of notifications popped up in front of him, which allowed him to successfully break through to the 3rd level of Core Transformation Stage. The reason why Xiao Chun could break through so quickly was because he had killed the 2 ancestors of the Divine Inscription Manor and gained a lot of experience. Now that he had repaired a few formations, he could break through. Successfully accepted Save the Spirit Race, Quest 3, Repel the Netherworld Empire's Invaders. Reward: 30 million EXP, 10. 000 CPS 5. 000 SBS, 50 Spirit Race Favorability. Chapter 295. Yes, this is the effect I want. Tianyin is very satisfied with this chain quest. The more quests, the better, and the rewards are good. Although there is no item reward, what is better than a lot of EXP? Great! All the divine runes are repaired. Yi Qingxuan's face showed a bit of relief. After the divine runes are repaired, there is no problem for the time being. She immediately said to Tianyin, "Thank you for your hard work. Take a rest and leave the rest to us. No, this is just a matter of time. If we don't eliminate the intruders, we will have to repair the divine runes soon. If we continue like this, we won't be able to hold on for long." Tianyin shook his head, plus the system reminded him to do a quest. There is no point for him to do anything. They were startled, and their face was a bit strange, but they immediately sighed. In fact, we have been resisting for a long time, so we can't leave for the time being, so the situation is not optimistic. Yi Qingxian shook her head and said, "Even if we go, we won't be able to resist. This time, they have a lot of experts. They don't have many experts left here. There are only 1 or 2 core transformation stage experts left, and there are a lot of spirit core stage experts, but they are also injured. As for the void spirit stage experts, they have already been captured. Void spirit stage expert is very strong, but it doesn't mean that they are invincible. As long as they are ambushed, they can still be controlled." "How many experts do they have? Do you know the details?" Tianyin frowned and asked. With Lei Yin leading the team, there are a few elders and a few deacons. There are a total of 5 core transformation stage experts, and there are at least a dozen spirit core stage experts, and this is not including the Netherworld Empire's experts. If we didn't have the protection of the divine rune array left by the old ancestor, we would have fallen long ago. Yi Qingxuan's silver eyes flashed with anger, obviously because of the traitors. Oh, 5 core transformation stage cultivators, but none of them are void spirit stage cultivators? Tianyin thought. That shouldn't be the case. Void Spirit stage cultivators are equivalent to general level cultivators. If Lei Yun wants to make a contribution, he won't send general level cultivators. Yi Qingxian shook her head. No Void Spirit stage cultivators? That's enough. Yi Tianyun said with a smile on his face. I will deal with them. You're going to deal with them? How are you going to do that? Yi Wan-er, who was next to him, was dumbfounded. She found it unbelievable. Do you even need to ask? I'll definitely use my fists. Don't tell me I'm going to use my mouth to scare them away. Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently. He turned his head and said to Yi Qingxian, Do you want to come along? Yi Qingxian smiled and said without hesitation, Then let's go together. Are you all crazy? There are so many enemies there. Big brother E is impulsive, but sister, why are you so impulsive? Yi Wan-er thought that they are all crazy. She thought that Yi Tianyun is crazy, but now even Yi Qingxian is so impulsive. Saintus, we can't do this. As long as we continue to drag on, they will definitely choose to retreat, and then we will think of another way. Elder Yin persuaded at the same time. Her cultivation is not low. She is at second-level core transformation stage, but if she goes on the battlefield, she won't be able to deal with Lei Yun and the others. As for escaping, it's very difficult for them to do so. Before they attack, they could still sneak out, but now that they are here, it won't be so easy to escape. What other way can we do? Ask for help from other sects. Or, do you have other helpers? Yi Qingxian asked. That one sentence blocked all the words they wanted to say, leaving them speechless. We are not necessarily going to lose this battle. The Divine Rune Great Array is repaired, and it will definitely be more hidden than before, and it will be easier to sneak attack them. Yi Qingshuan's eyes were full of killing intent. Whether we can win or not, at least we can kill as many of them as we can. Before the Divine Rune Great Array was repaired, I thought about this problem, but it's not safe. The clansmen we sent out are the best example. They are easy to spot. But now it's different. With the Divine Rune Great Array's protection, the effect will definitely be different. I think, young master, you should be thinking of this idea, to sneak attack them ruthlessly. Yi Qingxian fiercely analyzed the situation, and her words were reasonable, which made everyone agree with her. Thinking about it carefully, after the Divine Rune Great Array is repaired, it will indeed strengthen the Divine Rune Great Array, which is very beneficial for them. No, that's not my idea. My idea is very simple, to directly destroy them. Yi Tianyun didn't give her face and fiercely refuted. Yi Qingxian glared at him fiercely. He didn't give her face at all. Won't that be too reckless? Elder Yin frowned and said, No, there's not much time left, Saintus. Let's go. Yi Tianyun didn't explain too much. It was better to show off later. Okay, let's go now. They are trapped in the forest now. It's the best time for us to attack. Yi Qingxian nodded. Elder Yin, stay here and watch the situation. We will go and drive them out. Elder sister, I want to help too. Yi Wan-er volunteered bravely. You stay here and watch the Spirit Pagoda. This is also a very important task. Yi Qingxian looked at her and said in a deep voice, If the Divine Rune Great Array is destroyed, you can imagine the consequences. Yes. Yi Wan-er paused for a moment, then solemnly agreed. After saying this, Yi Qingxian led Yi Tianyun away. It seems that you still don't want to let your sister face danger, Yi Tianyun said with a faint smile. Although it seemed that he had given her a heavy responsibility, there was no problem with the Divine Rune now, and there wouldn't be any problem for a while. Even if there was a problem, Elder Yin would be able to solve it. There was no need to use her. In the end, he wanted her to stay here. He didn't want anything to happen to her. People are selfish. She is my sister. I don't want to see anything happen to her. Never. Yi Qingshuan's silver eyes flashed with a cold light. Don't worry. Everything will be fine. I am here. Yi Tianyun's voice was full of magic, and she couldn't help but nod her head. She didn't know why, but even though she knew that she was facing a powerful force like the Netherworld Empire, Yi Tianyun's words made her feel very calm. Perhaps she thought of the moment when she was full of despair. She had already survived such a desperate moment. What more could she do? Chapter 296. Yi Tianyun didn't know whether the Spirit Clan was confident or not, but he was absolutely confident that he could get rid of this group of trash. As long as there were no void spirit stage cultivators, he could easily suppress them. Under Yi Qingshuan's lead, they quickly arrived at the main hall of the spirit tower. After discussing some matters with some elders, they immediately gathered a group of spirit clan cultivators. The strongest cultivator was only at the spirit core stage, and there was no core transformation stage cultivator. The current situation was really shabby. Is this all the spirit clan has? Tianyin looked at the remaining spirit core stage cultivators. There were only 6 or 7 spirit core stage cultivators left, but there were still a lot of core condensation stage cultivators. But in this kind of war, core condensation stage cultivators were useless. They were basically cannon fodder. The reality was cruel. The more powerful a faction was, the more ordinary a faction would be. Previously, a powerful force within a small faction would become a relatively ordinary existence here. Although the spirit clan was called a clan, in fact, it was definitely a top 3rd grade force, or even a 4th grade force. Because there were too many strong cultivators, and all of them were divine rune masters, it was comparable to a 4th grade force. But there were too few people, and a lot of people had rebelled, so the result was only this group of people left. Those who rebelled were nothing more than people who were blinded by power. They didn't want to hide in this godforsaken place. What they pursued was glory, splendor, wealth, and the respect of tens of thousands of people. They did not want to be unknown and live in seclusion in the mountains. Yes, most of them were captured and locked in the Netherworld Empire's prison. They can't get out at all. Yi Qingxian shook her head and said, "We sent a lot of people to rescue them, but they didn't succeed. Moreover, the prison is very strict, so it's hard for us to find the key to open it." The key to open the prison? Tianyun's face was a little strange. He remembered that he got the key to the prison from Chengfeng. Yes, not only do we need to sneak in, but we also need the key. The Netherworld Empire's prison is not an ordinary prison. Even a void spirit stage cultivator can't break it. It's very strong. Yi Qingshuan's tone was filled with anger. Because that prison was built with the help of our ancestor. The divine runes carved on it are extremely sturdy. They are at the level of a divine rune grandmaster. It's not that easy to break through. I never thought that in the end, it would become our own prison. Although Tianyun didn't know why the Netherworld Empire helped him with this prison, he believed that they had a good relationship in the beginning. Later on, the Netherworld Empire wanted to obtain the spirit race, so they helped him. Then this ancestor, Tianyun asked. Elder ancestor is old, and his lifespan is coming to an end. Now that he's in prison, if he's tortured, Yi Qingxian closed her eyes in pain. She couldn't finish her sentence, but Tianyun could hear it. In a situation where his lifespan was about to end, he was still being tortured. The result was certain death. For a highly respected ancestor to be tortured to death, just like that was a humiliation. After everything here is over, we'll go to the Netherworld Empire and save everyone, Tianyun said in a deep voice. Now let's get rid of these scourges first. All right. Yi Qingxian didn't think too much about it. She was determined to go to the Netherworld Empire to save everyone. After they gathered together, they quickly rushed into the forest. Yi Qingxian explained the situation to Tianyun as they went deeper into the forest. If even their own people got lost in the forest, it would be troublesome. The deacons of the spirit race were surprised to see their saintess being so close to an outsider. They had never seen their saintess being so close to a man, whether it was inside or outside the spirit race. They had never seen such a thing. This was definitely the first time they had seen such a thing. I have a general understanding of the situation. Leave it to me. A cold light flashed in Tianyun's eyes. There is something I need to tell you in advance. That is, if I encounter those traitors, should I kill them directly? Or should I leave them to you? Except for Lei Yun. Kill them all? Yi Qingshuan's eyes were extremely cold. Of course, it's best if you can capture them alive. If there's no other way, then kill them all. These traitors were not worthy of being spirit race. They even killed their own people. How could they be worthy of being spirit race? All right, no problem. Tianyun's eyes flashed. He knew that Lei Yun would definitely stay, and he would be able to get a lot of information from him. After discussing the plan, they began to move in groups. As for Yi Tianyun and Yi Qingxian, they would personally lead the operation. We're almost there. At this time, Yi Qingxian slowed down a little and said in a hurry, "Hide your body and restrain your breath so that we won't be discovered." At this time, she turned around and found that Yi Tianyun had disappeared. She was stunned. "Where is he?" Suddenly, she felt a light tap on her shoulder. She immediately turned around and saw Yi Tianyun smiling at her. "He's here. What's the matter?" Yi Qingxian rolled her eyes at him and said, "Why is there no aura at all? I thought you lost us." "Didn't you tell me to hide my body?" "I did." Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders. Just when he was about to say something, his eyes suddenly became cold. "Shoo, someone is coming this way." Yi Qingxian nodded and didn't say anything. Instead, she led Yi Tianyun to the side and hid beside a tree. "Master Wu, the divine inscription here has suddenly been repaired. That's why we can't break this maze formation. Please forgive us." A spirit race cultivator bowed his head and said apologetically. Wu Peng's cultivation was not low. He was a general of the Netherworld Empire. His cultivation had reached the 3rd level of core transformation stage. He led a group of spirit race traders to break this maze formation. Why can't it be broken even if it's repaired? Wu Peng frowned. "We have been trapped here for so long. If we continue like this, how long will it take for us to complete the mission? If the great emperor punishes us, even I will have to suffer. It won't be long. Our patriarch is already working hard to break this maze formation. As long as the main formation in this pagoda is broken, all the maze formations here will be ineffective." The trader said hurriedly, "Trash! Can't you break the maze formation?" Wu Peng looked at them coldly. We are not good enough." They were embarrassed. Although their cultivation level was not low, they were not divine inscription masters. How could they break the maze formation so easily? This is really bad luck. If Liao Cheng takes the credit, how can I make a contribution to the Netherworld Empire? Wu Peng looked at them with disgust. Even if they joined the Netherworld Empire, they were still treated like dogs. Yi Tianyun was hiding on the side. Yi Qingxian said to Yi Tianyun, "It's a bit troublesome. There is a core transformation stage cultivator here, but we can sneak attack those spirit core stage cultivators." "I almost forgot. What is your cultivation level?" When she turned her head to look at Yi Tianyun, she found that Yi Tianyun had disappeared. At this time, Yi Tianyun's voice came from the front. Chapter 297. The sudden appearance of Yi Tianyun startled them. They didn't know when Yi Tianyun appeared in front of them. Who is it? Not spirit race? When Wu Peng saw Yi Tianyun, he looked him up and down and immediately frowned and said, "I don't know, where did you come from? You got lost here just like us and scared me. Kill him." The sudden appearance startled them, making Wu Peng very unhappy in his heart. He was already unhappy about getting lost, but he didn't expect that an idiot would appear and get lost here with him. The consequence of startling him was the death penalty. "Yes, Senior Wu." The spirit race trader next to Wu Peng immediately said, "I don't know where you came from, but I'm sorry. Today is your..." Bang. The spirit clan trader was sent flying, and after tumbling a few times, he was no longer breathing. Ding! Successfully killed spirit race trader. Reward: 350,000 EXP, 3,600 crazy point, 200 SBS, 800 divine rune proficiency. Obtain martial art Heavenly Spirit Step, Heavenly Spirit Palm. Obtained Heavenly Spirit Pin, mid-grade soul tool, Tyrant rune paper rare. Yi Tianyun didn't show any mercy. What did you say just now?" Yi Tianyun looked at the corpse lying on the ground and said indifferently, "I'm sorry. I didn't listen to you. I wanted to take you out of here. But who knew you wanted to kill me? In that case, I'll kill you." The next moment, Yi Tianyun rushed up and kicked a spirit race trader. Even the Netherworld Empire's soldiers were sent flying. After being kicked, they didn't get up again. "Don't you dare!" After Wu Peng saw this, he flew into a rage. He pulled out a blood-red demonic saber and slashed over. A blood-red light soared into the sky, and countless skeletons were released from the demonic saber, making the forest look even more sinister and terrifying. It was unknown how much blood had this demonic saber been soaked in, how much essence blood had been used to refine it to reach such a level. The attack was domineering enough. Apart from the blood-red blade light that was aimed at Tianyun, the rest of the red blade lights hit the giant trees on the side. However, they did not cause any damage to the giant trees. This was the reason why they couldn't cut down the giant trees along the way. These giant trees were very hard, and it would take a lot of effort to cut them down. Who knew how long it would take for them to chop down the trees one by one? Absorbing Star's great technique, Tianyun stretched out his hand, and a terrifying suction force sucked the blood-red skeleton into his body, turning it into experience points. To him, this attack was not challenging at all. So, what if I am impudent? Tianyun laughed. His figure flashed and appeared in front of Wu Peng. His speed was much faster than Wu Peng. Without using any weapons, he simply smashed down with his fist. The tyrannical dragon god bloodline was released, and the power instantly exploded. Dong! Wu Peng was hit hard and flew out, smashing into the giant tree. Under this terrifying impact, the giant tree only shook a little, but there was a deep mark on it. On the other hand, Wu Peng's chest had already caved in. Under this violent punch, there were really not many people who could resist it. Wu Peng groaned and slid to the ground. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his consciousness became blurred. No wonder it was so hard. It turns out that he was wearing a high-quality armor. Tianyun's fist hurt a little, but this punch was too domineering. He didn't even need to use his crazy damage mode to beat Wu Peng half to death. Even though he was wearing a high-grade soul tool, he was still smashed half to death by his punch. Even a high-grade soul tool could not completely block the super penetrative power. Lord Wu! The remaining guards and traitors trembled in fear as they looked at Tianyun. Do you know who you killed? He is Lord Wu of the Netherworld Empire. You have provoked the Netherworld Empire. Can't you people change your words? Every time you use the Netherworld Empire's power to oppress people. Am I blind? Can I see the equipment you are wearing? Tianyun shrugged his shoulders helplessly. My sanus, why don't you make a move? As soon as he finished speaking, a silver light flashed out, and several guards were instantly frozen into ice sculptures. Moreover, a silver whip lashed out, and with a bang, these ice sculptures were smashed into pieces. The attack was extremely ruthless. No one expected that it would be done by a woman. One of the spirit race traitors did not die. Half of his body was frozen, and he could not move at all. The powerful frost energy froze everything in an instant. My saintus! When the traitor saw Yi Qingxian in front of him, he was scared out of his wits. Oh, you still call me Sanus? Do you think you are qualified to call me that? Yi Qingxian looked at him and sneered. Don't worry, I will thoroughly clean up all of you traitors. I will thoroughly clean up the spirit race. My Sanus, you can't blame me for this. Elder Lei Yun instigated us to do this. If we don't go with him, we will die. The traitor kept begging for mercy. He didn't want to die here. Do you think I will believe you? Yi Qingxian fiercely lashed out with her silver whip. Bang! The traitor was sent flying, and his lower body was smashed into pieces. After being frozen, one's body would become extremely fragile. A heavy silver whip would shatter one's body. The traitor let out a blood-curdling scream as blood splattered everywhere. He fell to the ground and struggled. Shi Yunan had a good relationship with Lei Yun when he was in the spirit race. He often helped Lei Yun to do things. He even helped Lei Yun punish his clansmen. When Lei Yun chose to join the Netherworld Empire, he did not hesitate to join Lei Yun's camp and helped him capture talented clansmen. Since I am the saintess of the spirit race, I will never wrongly accuse any of my clansmen, nor will I let go of any traitors, Yi Qingxian said in a deep voice. After hearing this, Shi Yunan's face turned pale. It seemed that the information about him had been completely collected. It was impossible to deny it. Bang! Yi Qingxian lashed out with her whip, giving Shi Yunan a quick death. She wanted him to understand why he died. After killing Shi Yunan, there was no joy in Yi Qingxuan's beautiful eyes, only pain. It was true that Shi Yunan was a traitor, but no one wanted to kill their own clansmen. Especially since the spirit race didn't have many people. No one wanted to end up like this. Chapter 298. The enlistment of the Netherworld Empire seemed to bring benefits, but in fact, it was assimilation. Over time, these people were scattered and integrated into the Netherworld Empire. It seemed to be a good idea, but the spirit race had been around for many years, so they valued the secrets of the spirit race more. Once all of the spirit race's secrets were taken away, they would lose their value, and their lives would have nothing to do with them. In fact, enlistment was not terrible. Joining a powerful empire was good for any force. What they were afraid of was that the empire they joined would be too overbearing and ruthless. They would throw away everything like a waste. They would even make the forces they joined work for them. In the end, their own forces would fall apart and eventually disappear. More importantly, it was to replace the upper echelons of a force. At that time, they would be able to control a force that was not weak and work hard for them, becoming their subordinates. The Heaven's Top Mansion was the best example. Once the top leaders were replaced, it became a puppet force. If the spirit race joined, it would become like this sooner or later. The elders had no real power, and the Netherworld Empire was the one who controlled the lifeline of the spirit race. Who would be willing to join? They would rather die than become the slaves of the Netherworld Empire. Some people in the spirit race had a different view. They wanted to join these powerful forces and choose to be superior. The polarization of the spirit race had evolved into the current situation. Yi Qingshuan's heart was in pain. If she didn't kill them, she wouldn't be able to quell the anger in her heart. As long as they refused the enlistment, they would be tortured and eventually die. Because of this, her heart became incomparably ruthless. Traitors would die. The Netherworld Empire would die. You don't have to blame yourself too much. Yi Tianyun came over and patted her on the shoulder, signaling her not to be so painful. Well, there is no need to blame yourself. They have to pay the price. Yi Qingxian turned her head and looked at Wu Peng, who was lying on the ground. He was seriously injured and couldn't get up. Wu Peng sobered up a little and stared at them. If you want to kill them, then kill them. Sooner or later, the Netherworld Empire will uproot your spirit race. As he spoke, he slammed his hand on the ground and actually bounced up, pouncing towards them. However, a kick had already arrived. With a bang sound, Wu Peng was heavily kicked into the huge log. His whole body was almost trampled into the huge log. With this sudden stomp, Wu Peng's injuries became even more serious. He was almost trampled to death. When you pretended to be seriously injured and couldn't get up, it was a bit too fake. Yi Tianyun looked at him and said coldly, "Don't worry, the one who will be uprooted is not the spirit race, but the Netherworld Empire." At the same time, the foot that had been stepping on Wu Peng began to frantically operate the Absorbing Star's great technique and began to extract the spiritual force from Wu Peng's body. The Absorbing Star great method didn't necessarily need the palm to be able to absorb the other party's spirit force. As long as the body touched it, it could absorb the other party's spirit force. However, compared to the feet and the like, the hands were undoubtedly easier to absorb and suppress the opponent. Wu Peng felt the terrifying suction force, causing the spiritual energy in his body to become weaker and weaker. His eyes that were previously filled with anger were now filled with fear. "Saintess, what do you want to do with him?" Yi Tianyun turned his head and looked at Yi Qingxian. "Kill him." Yi Qingxian answered without any hesitation. "No problem." Yi Tianyun's foot suddenly exerted force. Wu Peng's whole body was stepped into the giant wood a little bit. The originally so hard giant wood was also stepped by this overbearing force. Wu Peng's eyes widened, and he immediately lost his breath. Just this one stomp was enough to crush his internal organs and kill him on the spot. Ding! Successfully killed Wu Peng. Reward: 380. 000 EXP. 4300 Crazy Point. 300 SBS. Obtained Bloodthirsty Chop. Demon Blood Soaring to the Heavens. Obtained items: Scarlet Demon Blade, High-Grade Soul Tool, Nirvana Armor, 500. 000 EXP Pill. Immediately, Tianyan skillfully took off Wu Peng's storage ring. This is a good thing. How can he miss it? I can see that you are quite skilled in taking things. Yi Qingxian said while looking at Tianyan. This is nothing. There are a lot of good things in it. How can I let it go? Tianyan didn't even need to look at it to know that there are a lot of treasures inside, and they are all things that can be used to develop the sect. How can he waste them? By the way, your cultivation has reached core transformation stage? Yi Qingxian suddenly remembered something and asked, Yes. Is there a problem? Tianyan looked at her and said, No problem. Your breakthrough speed is too fast. When I met you before, your cultivation was still very low. How did you cultivate? Yi Qingxian was very shocked. Tianyan is stronger than her. I can't help it. I broke through. Tianyan shrugged his shoulders and said, Okay. Yi Qingxian didn't continue to ask, but said, Let's go to the next place and eliminate them one by one. There is not much time left for them, so they must quickly go to the next place in case of any accidents. Immediately, they disappeared in place and continued to go deeper into the forest. What the hell is this place? Have you found a breakthrough point? Why can't you break this damn maze? Liao Qing looked around vigilantly. He was worried that someone would suddenly sneak attack them. Lord Liao, we can't break it for the time being. It should be, because the divine rune grand array has been repaired, it is difficult to break it. The spirit clan trader who came with them said with a sad face. Aren't you people of the spirit clan? Why can't you even break this little thing? Liao Cheng said angrily. I brought you here to break this maze. Since the beginning, you have been useless. The spirit clan traders were angry at the same time, but they could only maintain a smile on their faces. They didn't dare to get angry. We are a little familiar with this place, but when the maze is activated, even we can't break it easily. Moreover, it changes frequently, let alone us. Even the elders will be trapped in it. This maze does not distinguish between friend and foe. As long as one doesn't understand the operation of the maze, even the elders will get lost in it. Damn, if Wu Peng and the others steal the credit, won't I be working for nothing? Liao Qing couldn't help but kick the huge tree twice. He looked up at the sky and said, If only I can see the situation from the sky. He is a powerhouse of the core transformation stage. He can certainly fly, but there is no point in flying here. He can't see anything from the sky. They can escape from here, but they are here to seize the spirit clan's territory. There is no point in escaping. Don't worry. Wu Peng won't steal your credit. A young man suddenly appeared in front of them, startling them. Why? Liao Cheng didn't ask who the person was. He subconsciously asked. Because he is already dead. The corner of Yi Tianyan's mouth curved into an evil smile. Yi Qingxian, who was hiding in the dark, her eyes flashed. She was ready to sneak attack. The one who rushed out was naturally Yi Tianyan. He will attract their attention. Then she will sneak attack. Originally, she wanted to go out to attract their attention, but Yi Tianyan didn't let her. The reason is very simple. It is too dangerous. Chapter 299. Hearing Yi Tianyan's answer, Liao Cheng was stunned for a moment, and then immediately flew into a rage. Who the hell are you? He quickly took out his weapon and stared at Yi Tianyan. Although he didn't know who the other party was, his natural vigilance made him raise his guard to the maximum, and he completely released his strength. The battle was about to begin. Do you still need to ask? Of course. I'm the one who killed you. Yi Tianyan's eyes were cold, and he rushed towards Liao Cheng. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Liao Cheng and kicked him. Rising Dragon Foot. The power of the Dragon God's bloodline broke out, and he started to circulate the Dragon God's secret art, completely arousing the power of the Dragon God's bloodline. A domineering dragon shadow was released, and like a long dragon tail, it fiercely swung out. Super explosive power and amazing speed. After the combination of these two, it was as if a dragon was rolling up. Boom! Liaowen was kicked by this swift and violent kick. Even if he was vigilant, the gap between him and Yi Tianyan was too big, and he didn't even have time to react before he was kicked away. At the same time, when the people in front were scared out of their wits, a silver light swept over from behind, bringing with it a burst of cold air. Following that, The traders and guards behind them were all frozen by this cold ice, or severely injured by a heavy whip. The cooperation between the two was seamless, and they quickly killed this group of people with irresistible force. Why do I feel that you are so much stronger than most of the core transformation stage cultivators? Although Liao Cheng's cultivation is not very high, he was still at the 4th level of core transformation stage. How could you kill him in a few kicks? You didn't even need to use a weapon. The more Yi Qingxian watched Yi Tianyan fight, the more she found that his strength was getting stronger and stronger, and it seemed like this was not the limit. I can't help it. Their bodies are too weak, and they died after a few kicks from me. Yi Tianyan shrugged his shoulders. Well, if it wasn't for your help, I really don't know how to deal with these core transformation stage cultivators. Although these core transformation realm cultivators were easily killed, it was because Yi Tianyan's strength was too strong. He didn't need to use crazy mode to kill cultivators at the same level as him. It wasn't that they were weak, it was that Yi Tianyan was too strong. In terms of battle power, Yi Tianyan's battle power was close to 2 million even without using his berserk mode and without equipping the Atlas set. On the other hand, Liao Cheng, who was at the 4th level of core transformation stage, was only worth 1.5 million. Under normal circumstances, both of them would be able to suppress each other's strength, let alone exploding it. The dragon god's bloodline burst out in one go. Coupled with the mysterious heaven divine art, his fists could be said to be extremely hard. He was not afraid of clashing head-on with a saber. I've said it before. With me here, you don't have to worry about them. Yi Tianyan grinned. It was so reassuring. Okay, let's go to the next place. Yi Qingxuan's beautiful eyes flickered. With Yi Tianyan's help, they couldn't completely eliminate the invaders this time. Immediately, under the leadership of Yi Qingxian, they quickly went to eliminate the next group of invaders. When they arrived, they saw that the spirit race had already started fighting with them. Combined with the disorienting grand array in the forest, they quickly escaped after attacking the invaders. Even if the other party had a core transformation stage powerhouse, they could still wander in the disorienting grand array. This was the benefit of repairing the disorienting grand array. However, it was meaningless to just wander around and disturb them. If they were not careful, they would still be caught. You came here, and you still want to leave. At this time, a core transformation stage powerhouse rushed over and was about to catch the deacon of the spirit race who was escaping into the depths of the forest. Everything happened so suddenly that the deacon didn't even have time to react. The young man lifted his foot and kicked him. Bang! The core transformation stage powerhouse was sent flying by the kick, and his internal organs felt like they were being displaced. He was kicked to the point that he was half dead. Don't worry, I won't leave. I will play with you slowly. Yi Tianyan's mouth curved into a sneer. Seeing this, the hearts of the spirit race and the others trembled. Soon, the invaders were easily eliminated by them. Fortunately, they were separated. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. Before the divine rune grand array was repaired, they had to break it in batches. Who knew that once the disorienting grand array was repaired, they would immediately fall into a predicament? The invaders are basically all cleared. What's left is Lei Yun's group. The group with the most experts should be Lei Yun's group. Yi Qingxuan's beautiful eyes flickered. She tightened her grip on the silver whip. Even Yi Tianyan could feel the nervousness and anger in her heart. She was preparing to face Lei Yun. How could she not be nervous? How could she not be angry? Although the Netherworld Empire was the source of the betrayal, Lei Yun was the mastermind of the betrayal. Don't worry, no matter how many come, I will kill them all. Yi Tianyun's eyes flickered. He was ready for a fierce battle. At this time, the deacons of the spirit race gathered together and followed them to clean up the surrounding invaders, especially those who were left behind. With their strength, it was quite easy for them to clean up. Most of the invaders were cleaned up. The only ones left were Lei Yun and the others who were destroying the divine rune grand array. They are here. I can feel it through the grand array. Yi Qingxuan's eyes were cold. She signaled them to stop and not get too close. They could still get close to the divine rune grand array, but they had to be careful when dealing with Lei Yun. But not long after they stopped, A deep and magnetic voice came from the front. Qing Xian, there is no need to hide there. I have destroyed this area. I can see you. Yi Qingshuan's face darkened. She gestured for them to not move. Sometimes they were just bluffing and tricking people out. This way, they would lose their advantage. Yi Tianyin looked up and saw a group of people in front of him. One of them was a strong man with divine runes engraved all over his body. Yi Tianyin could see the dense divine runes engraved on his arms. The voice came from his mouth. With the appraisal eye, Yi Tianyin could see the detailed information about him. Lei Yun, cultivation level 7 core transformation stage. His whole body is covered with thunder divine runes. He has excellent thunder attribute power. He is wearing a high-grade soul tool. His overall combat power is 3.8 million. Weakness can only be suppressed by earth attribute attacks. Martial arts, thunder dragon flash, thunder dragon spell, thunder god's descent, etc. Killing him can get thunder dragon flash, thunder dragon spell, thunder god's descent, thunder god's set, etc. A level 7 core transformation stage cultivator has 3.8 million combat power. This is really against the natural order. The key was that he had so many thunder divine runes on his body. How could he be weak? Lei Yun's ability was also not weak. He was a divine rune grandmaster, so it was normal for him to engrave many divine runes on his body. Chapter 300. Lei Yun's strength didn't exceed Yi Tianyun's expectation. If Lei Yun wasn't strong enough, he wouldn't be able to become the leader of the spirit race's traders, let alone compete with the spirit race. Without enough power, the Netherworld Empire wouldn't approve of him. The key point was that Lei Yun was so young, but he was already a divine rune grandmaster. So far, Lei Yun was only in his 30s, but he was already a divine rune grandmaster. His cultivation was at the 7th level of the core transformation stage. It was really unfortunate that he became a trader, which was really unfortunate for the spirit race. In addition to Lei Yun, there were other strong cultivators who were at the 6th level of the core transformation stage, which was the same level as Lei Yun. They were the ministers of the Netherworld Empire who came with Lei Yun. Nominally, they were going to help Lei Yun break into the spirit race, but more importantly, they were there to monitor the situation. Although Lei Yun had joined the Netherworld Empire, he still wouldn't completely trust the Netherworld Empire, so he would still send people to attack the spirit race. It could be said that in the whole team, there were 2 people who were worth paying attention to. One was Lei Yun, and the other was the minister. Lei Yun was very strong, but he couldn't be stronger than the ancestor of the divine rune mansion. Oh, you don't want to come out? Do you really think this disorienting trace formation can trap me? Lei Yun sneered, and suddenly took a step forward. A lightning appeared in his hand, and he quickly threw it towards Yi Qingshian. Boom! A bolt of lightning burst out from his hand, bypassing several giant trees to attack them. Its speed was really too fast. It was really bombarding towards them, and it wasn't just carelessly yelling. Yi Qingshuan's expression changed. Just as she was about to wave the silver whip in her hand to disperse the lightning bolt, a large hand had already grabbed it and directly crushed the lightning bolt. It seems that this disorienting grand array is useless against him, Yi Tianyun said as he waved his hand casually. They all looked at Yi Tianyun's palm. His palm was hit by the lightning, but it didn't even have a scratch on it. Although the heavenly lightning was not very powerful, it was definitely not weak. When it struck Yi Tianyun's palm, nothing happened. Oh, to think that there would be such a helper. His strength is quite strong. Lei Yun's voice rang out from afar as he led his men over. It was obvious that he could see them. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to attack them, or he might have sensed that they were in this area. In this way, a sneak attack would lose its meaning. Lei Yun is very familiar with this place. This disorienting grand formation is of some use to him, but he can sense it in a small area. Previously, when the Great Disorientation Formation failed, he was basically the one who broke it. From the looks of it, even if the Great Disorienting Formation is repaired, he will still be able to see the situation around him clearly. It is not very possible to ambush him. Yi Qingshuan's face was gloomy. This result was not too unexpected. The thundercloud they were facing was just too strong. Originally, Lei Yun's talent was already extremely high, not to mention that he was a Grandmaster Divine Inscriptionist. Although he couldn't destroy the runes, he wouldn't be greatly affected. Don't worry, I didn't intend to ambush you from the beginning. Tianyun smiled indifferently, and immediately a cold ice divine bow appeared in his hand. Extreme cold chi was released from the bow, which made Yi Qingxuan's eyes light up. Yi Qingxian also cultivated the cold attribute, so she felt more familiar with the bow. After taking out the ice divine bow, Tianyun quickly pulled the ice divine bow, and a thick ice divine arrow appeared in his hand. He spent 5,000 crazy points at once to condense an ice fury. Go! Tianyun's eyes flashed with a cold light, and then the ice divine arrow pierced through the air. Wherever it went, it was frozen and finally blasted at an extremely fast speed towards Lei Yun. The expression of Lei Yun, who was walking over, immediately changed. He shouted, "Dodge!" Lei Yun was the first to dodge, but the ministers on the side couldn't dodge so fast because the speed of sound transmission is not as fast as the ice divine arrow. By the time they reacted, the frost fury had already pierced through and smashed into their bodies. Boom! A terrifying snowstorm rose into the sky from that side, and the heavy snow rolled out in all directions. After a while, it calmed down a little in the distance. At this moment, a large area in the distance had been frozen. It was as if a snowstorm had just occurred and frozen the entire area. Ding successfully killed Netherworld Empire's Minister Mu Yun, gained 390,000 EXP for 1,600 crazy points, 200 SPs, obtained Netherworld Secret Art, Heaven Flipping Palm. Obtained Heavenly Moon Sword, Heavenly Feather Boots, 100,000 EXP Pill. Ding successfully killed Spirit Race Trader, gained 240,000 EXP, 3,100 Crazy Points, 100 SPs, 400 Divine Rune Mastery. Obtained. Ding successfully killed. With just one arrow, most of the people were killed. Even the ministers who just arrived were killed, and they didn't even have time to react before they died. This is a matter of course. Tianyun used crazy damage mode, and when the arrow burst out, it completely blew them away. Even if they didn't die, they would be frozen into ice sculptures. Isn't this too powerful? The spirit race powerhouses who followed behind Tianyun were ready to fight to the death, but they didn't expect that the arrow would freeze a large area. Although they didn't feel it personally, but from the cold air that came from the arrow, they knew that the power of the arrow is quite amazing. They can imagine that if they were hit by it, they will die without a doubt. Yi Qingxuan's eyes widened. She knew that Tianyun must be very powerful, but she didn't expect him to be this powerful. In the next moment, Tianyun's eyes turned cold. He picked up the ice divine bow in his hand and slashed horizontally to the side, and a light blue cold light rolled towards the side. Dang! A figure was hit flying, and at this time, everyone saw a flash of lightning on the side. They don't know when Lei Yun already arrived here, and he even launched a sneak attack. However, Tianyun saw through it, and he even counterattacked. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Lei Yun's body was frozen, but the lightning divine patterns on his body kept flashing, evaporating the cold air on his body, and he didn't suffer too much damage, mainly because he dodged in time. Otherwise, this arrow would have pierced through his body. Who are you? And which faction do you belong to? Lei Yun took a few cold breaths and stared at Tianyun, not daring to relax at all. If he continued to shoot him with that arrow, he will be in trouble. Of course I am from the spirit race. Is there a problem? Tianyun smiled indifferently. Impossible. You are not from the spirit race at all. Lei Yun stared at him and said, What price did the spirit race pay to invite you over? How much did the spirit race pay you? I will hire you at double, no, more than triple the price. Really? You could pay more to invite me over? Tianyun pretended to be a bit surprised. Of course, I have a Netherworld Empire behind me. You can ask for anything you want. Lei Yun saw that Tianyun was moved, and his face was full of joy. The other spirit race people's faces changed. Is this human going to be a fence-sitter? They looked at Yi Qingxian, but found that Yi Qingxuan's expression was indifferent. She didn't look anxious at all. Chapter 301. You tricked me? Lei Yun was stunned for a moment. Then he immediately became furious. I'm backed by the Netherworld Empire. Do you know what kind of stupid thing you're doing to fight against an empire? The deacons of the spirit race were relieved. They thought that Yi Tianyin would run away for the reward, but it turned out that he was just tricking them. From the very beginning, Yi Qingxian knew that Yi Tianyin was deliberately playing with them. If he really wanted to help them for the reward, he would have already run away. I don't know what stupid thing I have done, and I don't want to fight with the Netherworld Empire. Who wants to fight with the Netherworld Empire? Yi Tianyin said with a smile. It is your Netherworld Empire who provoked me and wanted to kill me. So, why don't we fight together? The Netherworld Empire offended you? Lei Yun was confused. He didn't know what had happened, but he understood that there was hatred between Netherworld Empire and Netherworld Empire. Lei Yun, Yi Qingxian said with anger. You have destroyed our spirit race again and again. What do you want to do? Do you want to betray the spirit race for the illusory glory? Betray the spirit race? Lei Yun looked at her with disdain. I am not betraying the spirit race at all. I am leading the spirit race to glory. A group of stubborn old men. What's the point of staying here? Dominate the whole continent. Get more resources, become stronger. This is the real future. Just like what the old ancestors said. You are too impetuous and not suitable to inherit the throne of the spirit race. Yi Qingxian said with a cold smile. The real strength is not by betraying the race, but by relying on yourself. In order to get more resources, you sold the spirit race, and now you are telling me that is the real future? Shut up, Lei Yun said angrily. Don't mention that old man in front of me. You're all stubborn old men, too impetuous. It is you who are too stubborn. What qualifications does he have to pass the throne of the spirit race to Di Chen? What do you mean by passing the throne to Di Chen? Are you kidding me? Yi Qingxian coldly said. You are the only candidate for the throne. Di Chen is not a candidate at all, but your heart is too impetuous. You can only temporarily put it aside. You actually think that the position of Spirit King will be passed to Di Chen? Looks like you can't get the throne, so you chose to betray us. If that's really the case, then I'm really glad that you haven't taken the throne. Otherwise, the spirit race would have been destroyed by you sooner or later. Yi Qingxian smiled coldly and became even angrier. Shut up. Lei Yun took a few steps back, his expression uncertain. Yi Qingxuan's news was a heavy blow to him, but soon his face turned gloomy and he said, The spirit race is in my hands. It will not be destroyed. It will only become more prosperous. I am now the strongest divine rune master in the Netherworld Empire, and I am preparing to become the Prime Minister. When the time comes, there will be a seat for me in the Netherworld Empire. With the help of the Netherworld Empire, the Spirit Clan will prosper. What a joke, what a joke! Lei Yun, you have been blinded by power, and even more so by anger. The Netherworld Empire is only interested in the spirit race's inherited divine runes. Once they get it, they will only abandon it. Yi Qingxian coldly said, I will give you one last chance to redeem yourself. Save the ancestor and the others. Then you can reduce your sins. Ha ha! Lei Yun laughed loudly, and tears almost came out of his eyes, which made Yi Qingxian frown. She didn't know what was wrong with Lei Yun. Yi Tianyin coldly looked at Lei Yun. If Yi Qingxian didn't want to ask him, he would have already punched Lei Yun. No matter what the reason was, a traitor couldn't be forgiven. Release the ancestor and the others? Lei Yun's laughter gradually stopped. He coldly looked at them and said, Don't talk nonsense. The ancestor has been corroded by 10,000 poisons. If this continues, with the help of the soul-searching technique, we will be able to find all the divine runes. Then all the secrets of the spirit race will belong to us, right? If you hadn't been rescued, I would have let you try the poison. That taste. Pervert, beast. What did you do to the ancestor? Yi Qingxuan's face changed. The worst situation has happened. That is, the ancestor is already very old. He will definitely be tortured, and with the help of the soul-searching technique, he will definitely die. Nothing. Since you don't want to say anything, I can only use the soul-searching technique. Now, All of you will die. Lei Yun walked a few steps and sneered. Now, all of you will die for me. In the next moment, Lei Yun stomped his foot on the ground. Suddenly, a dazzling light bloomed at the place he was standing before, forming a lightning-shaped divine rune. It was unknown when he had actually finished setting up a divine rune array here. Lei Yun was indeed a genius in divine rune. He reached the level of a divine rune master at such a young age. Just by walking back and forth a few steps, he has already quietly arranged a divine rune array. On the surface, he said so much, but secretly, he planned to attack them. Boom! At this time, a terrible lightning burst out from the surrounding in an instant, and combined with the power of Lei Yun, suddenly burst out an attack of the 8th or 9th level of core transformation stage. This situation scared the Spirit Clan, and they hurriedly tried to resist, but it was too late to escape. No matter how fast they ran, they were not as fast as the lightning power. Etienne's face didn't change, and with a boom sound, a burst of power shook the rapidly condensing divine rune array, and the divine rune array was shattered. What is going on? Lei Yun was about to mobilize all of his power to attack, but who knew that the divine rune array disappeared in the blink of an eye? With this level of strength, you dare to play divine rune array in front of me? Etienne shook his head and said, "From the beginning, when you first started to walk, I knew that you were setting up a divine rune array, and if Qing Xian didn't want to ask, I would have already slapped you to death." Immediately, he turned his head and looked at the stunned Qing Xian and continued, "What else do you want to ask? If you want to ask, I will catch him first, and then you can ask slowly. Then I will have to trouble you." Qing Xian didn't know what to say, and just as she was about to block the attack, she didn't expect that Etienne would immediately break through. In the next moment, Etienne raised the ice divine bow, aimed at Lei Yun, and fiercely shot 3 arrows, quickly piercing through. Lei Yun quickly dodged to the side. The divine rune array on his body gave him an extremely fast speed boost, and he was much faster than those of the same level. However, Etienne's speed was even faster, and with a boom sound, the ground caved in, and then he turned into a fierce dragon and pounced over. In an instant, the distance between them was shortened, and he raised his hand to grab Lei Yun. "Die for me." Lei Yun's eyes flashed with lightning, and a divine rune array was held in his hand, and he threw it in Yi Qingshuan's direction. With a boom sound, a few dozen feet wide lightning bolt fiercely struck in Yi Qingshuan's direction, but Etienne raised his hand and punched, completely ignoring it. Boom! This divine rune array hit Etienne's fist, and the thick lightning flowed along his fist, surging into his body. "Idiot! Let's see if you can survive this time." Lei Yun was delighted. He didn't expect that Etienne would take his attack head-on. Who knew that Etienne ignored the lightning and continued to rush over, and also punched. With a boom, Lei Yun was sent flying and crashed into a huge tree, his chest slightly caved in. He didn't use too much strength, mainly to catch him alive. Chapter 302. The power of the thunder and lightning divine rune talisman is not bad, but against Etienne's heaven-defying defense, the effect is really negligible. Lei Yun, who was sent flying, quickly bounced up from the ground, clutching his chest. Etienne's punch caused his injury to be quite serious. The most important thing is that his own power has no effect on Etienne. This heaven-defying power makes him feel powerless. "I won't say anything about obediently surrendering. I will beat you until you surrender." Etienne closed in step by step. Previously, he wanted to use instant transmission to sneak attack Lei Yun, but thinking that there are so many people here watching, he temporarily chose to give up this action. "I can't lose." Lei Yun sensed the approaching danger and roared. The thunder and lightning divine runes on his body frantically released. Dense thunder and lightning flowed on the surface of his body, and even a few lightning bolts were released from his body, striking the ground and giant trees, all of which were scorched black. Just the place where he was standing was bombarded by the power of thunder and lightning. His battle power soared crazily, but this is really meaningless to Etienne. Thunder God's Descent. Lei Yin clenched his fist, and with a loud bang, a divine thunder fell from the sky and struck his body. In an instant, his power suddenly increased by several times. His battle power directly rushed to tens of millions of battle power, and the terrifying power caused people's hearts to tremble. Originally, the divine runes on his body were already very amazing, but after using the divine art with the support of heaven and earth power, his battle power soared. The next moment, a long spear appeared in his hand, and without the slightest hesitation, he rushed towards Etianyan. Thunder Dragon Flash. Roar! A phantom of a thunder dragon condensed from the power of thunder and lightning on his body, and Lei Yun's whole body turned into a huge thunder dragon, roaring towards Yishuan. The long spear in his hand was like the mouth of a huge dragon, biting down towards Yishuan. Everything happened too fast. The power of thunder and lightning originally had the effect of increasing speed, so they couldn't see Lei Yun's speed at all. In an instant, he had already arrived in front of Tianyan. Die! Lei Yun's eyes were filled with the power of thunder and lightning, holding the long spear tightly and stabbing it towards Tianyan's chest. The tip of the spear was filled with extreme, killing intent, like a divine thunder. Tianyan stood motionless, and the moment the tyrannical long spear stabbed towards him, Tianyan grabbed the long spear tightly. The lightning in the long spear disappeared in an instant, and it became a normal high-grade soul tool. Even the power of thunder and lightning on Lei Yun's body was continuously absorbed by Tianyan. How can this be? Lei Yun was shocked. His attack had no effect at all, especially the power of thunder and lightning. It had actually disappeared. He could clearly see that when Tianyan grabbed his long spear, the power of thunder and lightning on it seemed to have found an outlet and immediately rushed out. But it didn't cause any damage to Tianyan. Come here. Lei Yun could clearly see that when Tianyan grabbed his long spear, the power of thunder and lightning on it seemed to have found an outlet and immediately rushed out. But it didn't cause any damage to Tianyan at all. Come here. Tianyan suddenly dragged the long spear over, and then fiercely smashed it into the ground. With a dong sound, Lei Yun was heavily smashed into the ground, and the ground was smashed so hard that a large hole appeared. Then he pulled out the long spear and threw it to the side. After the spear spun a few times, it fiercely sank into the giant tree, and only half of the spear was exposed outside. It was enough to see that the degree of sharpness was quite shocking. Tianyan said as he reached out to grab him, trying to control him. Okay, you're going to be a good boy and stay here. Get lost! Lei Yun roared, and the thunder and lightning divine runes on his body instantly detonated. The crazy power of thunder and lightning, as if it had been stored for a long time, was released all at once. The divine thunder soared to the sky, and its power was a bit stronger than before. Quickly dodge! That is the power of thunder and lightning that he has stored for a long time. Yi Qingxian hurriedly reminded. In addition to enhancing his strength, the thunder and lightning divine runes on Lei Yun's body can also store the tyrannical power of thunder and lightning. Originally, his physique was already amazing, and from time to time, he would release an amazing power of thunder and lightning. Therefore, he needed the thunder and lightning divine runes to suppress and store it in the divine runes. If he released it all at once when his life was in danger, it wouldn't be difficult for him to fight someone of a higher rank. The current attack was the best proof, and its power suddenly soared to 16 million battle power. It was unknown how long the power had been stored for, but it burst out with such an amazing power. However, a bolt of lightning pierced through and directly hit Tianyan's body. His body was enveloped by lightning, and it was so dazzling that people couldn't open their eyes. Many people were stunned, and Lei Yun's face was even more ferocious. He felt that he had succeeded in electrocuting Tianyan to death. Tianyan! Yi Qingxian bit her lip and pounced towards Tianyan without hesitation. She didn't care about the terrifying lightning at all. Sanus, don't go over! They quickly tried to stop Yi Qingxian, but she was too fast, and they couldn't stop her at all. However, by the time Yi Qingxian pounced, the lightning had already disappeared, and instead, she was in Yi Tianyun's arms. Calm down. Do you think this broken lightning can hurt me? Yi Tianyun hugged Yi Qingxian with a faint smile on his face. He held a pearl in his hand, which was flickering with lightning. All the lightning just now was absorbed by this pearl, and this pearl was the heavenly thunder divine pearl obtained from killing the divine inscription mansion's old ancestor. The most magical thing about this thing is that it can absorb the power of lightning. As long as the power of lightning is not very strong, it can absorb as much as it comes, and it won't refuse anything. Stored in this heavenly thunder divine pearl, it can not only be used for cultivation, but also to defend against enemies. Lei Yun's attack just now made him quickly take out this heavenly thunder divine pearl and absorb all the power of lightning, leaving nothing behind. Therefore, the seemingly terrifying power of lightning just now, not to mention injuring him, it was all absorbed and stored in this heavenly thunder divine pearl, and there was no problem at all. What the hell is this thing? When Lei Yun saw the heavenly thunder divine pearl in Yi Tianyun's hand, he was incomparably shocked. He released such a strong power of lightning, but it was actually absorbed. Chapter 303. Impossible. This is impossible. Lei Yun roared. He slapped the ground and charged towards Yi Qingyu. The lightning divine marks on his body were completely released. All of a sudden, all the divine marks were released from their shackles. All the lightning energy gathered into a thick bolt of lightning and shot towards Yi Qingyu. A huge lightning dragon opened its mouth and swallowed Yi Qingxian. The terrifying lightning energy was so strong that even the deacons of the spirit race who were standing far away could feel it. They were all charging towards Yi Tianyun. "Saintus!" they all exclaimed, but they didn't dare to get close. It wasn't that they didn't want to help, but with their strength, even if they got close, they would die. How could they help? "All of you, go to hell!" Lei Yun's face was full of ferocity. He looked at Yi Tianyun and the others who were covered in lightning and sneered. Even if Yi Qingxian was killed, he didn't feel any pity. To him, all of this was no longer important. So long as they went against him, then only death awaited them. After a short while, the lightning quickly disappeared and was absorbed into the heavenly thunder divine pearl. What he saw was Yi Tianyun's mocking expression. "I told you this is useless. If your heavenly thunder divine pearl was dozens of times stronger, I wouldn't have been able to do anything. Unfortunately, its power is too weak." The two of them were completely fine. The heavenly thunder divine pearl had absorbed all of it. Nothing was left. The terrifying effect of the heavenly thunder divine pearl made them widen their eyes. Such a terrifying effect. Could it be that it had reached the level of a divine tool? Lei Yun was stunned. He thought that he would see two corpses, but what he saw was two people who were completely unharmed. All the lightning energy he released was sucked dry. He had already released all the lightning energy in the lightning divine marks on his body. There was no attack left. At most, he could only use normal attacks. Other than that, there was still lightning attack. However, the strongest lightning energy had been released. How could normal attacks be effective against Yi Tianyun? "Impossible, impossible, impossible!" Lei Yun roared as he sent a punch towards Yi Tianyun. His entire body swelled up as he sent a violent punch towards Yi Tianyun. The power of lightning surrounded his body. "I like to compete with fists." Yi Tianyun gently pushed Yi Qingxian away and then fiercely punched Lei Yun's fist. The expressions of the others changed. The spiritual race deacons hurriedly shouted from the side, "Don't compete with him with your fists. He's very strong." Before he could finish his sentence, their fists had already collided. With a dong sound, Lei Yun was sent flying and slammed into a giant tree. His entire arm was twisted off. Obviously, under this punch, Lei Yun's power was much weaker than Yi Tianyun's, and he was completely killed in one hit. Everyone suddenly fell silent. They were kind enough to remind him, but now they realized that there was no need to remind him at all. Yi Tianyun's strength was also strong enough. Without the heavenly thunder deity pearl, he could still suppress Lei Yun. At the next moment, Tianyun did not waste time talking nonsense with him. He rushed up to Lei Yun. Before Lei Yun could get up, he had already kicked his dantian heavily. The violent power gathered at one point and then exploded in his dantian. Bang! Lei Yun was heavily pressed against the giant tree. His face was full of pain, and then he screamed, You destroyed my dantian. Cough, cough, cough. After saying that, he kept coughing up blood and was in extreme pain. Tianyun destroyed his dantian, which meant that he was temporarily disabled. If he wanted to recover his dantian and be able to cultivate, he would need at least a 5th grade elixir. However, the price was not only high, but also the difficulty of recovering his previous cultivation was not small. After destroying his dantian, Lei Yun was much more stable. Without his cultivation, what was left was a good physique, but it was much easier to control. If I don't destroy your dantian, am I supposed to beat you up? Idiot! Tianyun sneered, turned to Yi Qingxian and said, I'll leave him to you. How you want to deal with him is your business. Okay. Yi Qingxian nodded. Her eyes were focused on Lei Yun, and there was a hint of coldness in her beautiful eyes. Lei Yun, it's time to settle this score. After saying that, she swung the silver whip in her hand and wrapped it around Lei Yun, completely turning him into a prisoner. Qingxian, if you don't let me go back, be careful of the ancestor and the rest. Lei Yun did not forget to threaten at this time. Slap. Yi Qingxian slapped Lei Yun heavily, and his mouth was full of blood. How dare you hit me? Slap. Yi Qingxian slapped him heavily again without mercy, and a few of his teeth were knocked out. So what if I hit you? Not killing you right away is the greatest mercy I can give you. Yi Qingxian looked at him coldly, then immediately turned around and dragged him back and said, Let's go back to the tribe first. Yes. They followed one after another, and the big stone in their heart was lifted a little bit. This group of invaders was eliminated by them, and now the only thing left to do was to plan how to save the ancestor and the rest. Ding! Successfully completed Rescue the Spirit Race, Quest 3. Repel the invaders of the Netherworld Empire. Reward, 300. 000 EXP, 100. 000 CPS 5. 000 SPs, 50 Spirit Race Favorability. Ding! Successfully accepted Rescue Spirit Race Quest 4. Rescue Spirit Race Imprisoned in Netherworld Empire Quest. Reward, 500. 000 EXP, 200. 000 CPS 5. 000 SBS, 50 Spirit Race Favorability. After the 3rd quest was completed, the 4th quest immediately appeared, which was not beyond Tianyun's expectation. He knew that the spirit race still had a lot of things to do, such as saving people was a must. If he wanted to become the king of the spirit race, he must become the savior of the entire spirit race. This was the only way to convince them to accept him as their king. However, this was only his guess, and whether he could succeed or not, he still had to see how difficult it was to save the spirit race. Soon they returned to the spirit race, and many of the spirit race people gathered around them. And when they saw Lei Yun was captured, they showed anger. It was all because of him that the spirit race was in this situation. When they knew that this was all done by Tianyun, they were shocked, and at the same time, their favorability skyrocketed, and Tianyun's reputation was completely spread here. Chapter 304. On the way to the pagoda, the people of the spirit clan cursed at Lei Yun, saying that he was ungrateful, despicable, and selfish. If Yi Qingxian hadn't stopped them, they would have already cut Lei Yun into pieces. Even though they were of the same race, this fellow was a complete scourge. He had brought disaster upon the spirit race. The root cause was the Netherworld Empire, but if it wasn't for Lei Yun, the spirit clan wouldn't be in such a miserable state. If they were united, even the Netherworld Empire wouldn't dare to go against them. The spirit clan's strength was not weak, and their connections were not weak either. This time, the Netherworld Empire had the upper hand. Even if they had good connections, they wouldn't dare to help the spirit clan. Now that the spirit clan was in such a miserable state, it would be meaningless to help them. Tianyan had seen this. If it wasn't for his help, the most they could do was launch a sneak attack. It would be impossible for them to drive the invaders away. Lei Yun alone was enough to suppress them. Originally, their trip this time was to completely suppress the spirit tribe. They did not expect that someone would appear out of nowhere and repair the divine inscriptions. Moreover, they even helped to clean up the mess. If Tianyan didn't come, this place would still be able to resist for a while, but it would be impossible to resist for a long time. Yi Qingxian fiercely swung the silver whip in her hand. Lei Yun was sent flying and landed in the middle of the hall. At this time, Elder Yin had already come down. When he saw Lei Yun, his eyes were filled with anger. He wanted to kill him. Lei Yun, tell me everything you know. The key to the prison, the location of the elders and the ancestors, all the plans of the Netherworld Empire. Tell me everything. Elder Yan's killing intent surged as he pressed down on Lei Yun. Since Lei Yun's cultivation had been destroyed, he was forced to kneel on the ground under the pressure. He couldn't struggle at all. This humiliation caused him to bite his lips so hard that they bled. However, he was unable to struggle. He was once an elder, and he was even a genius of his generation. When had he ever suffered such humiliation? You want me to tell you? Impossible. But I can tell you that the key to the prison is with General Long. Hurry up and get it. Lei Yun laughed loudly. Even though his cultivation had been crippled, he still revealed a look of disdain and looked down on them. General Long, Yi Qingxuan's brows wrinkled. They were enemies of the Netherworld Empire, so they naturally knew about General Long's power. The cultivation of a general was definitely not weak. His cultivation was definitely at the peak of core transformation stage. He was definitely at the 9th layer or even the void spirit stage. If he didn't have this level of cultivation, he wouldn't have been allowed to be a commander no matter how outstanding he was. Because no matter how outstanding the commander's ability was, if the other side sent an expert, they would still be able to take his head. Sometimes, the great general had to personally take action to kill all the invaders. That's right, it's General Long. If you have the ability, go and rob him to open the prison gate. Lei Yun said mockingly, don't worry, they will attack very soon. When there is no news from us for a long time, they will immediately attack. I will give you one last chance to surrender and join the Netherworld Empire. This is your last chance. Lei Yun knew that they couldn't snatch the key from the hands of a terrifying existence. He also knew that they were weak, so he threatened them. And you, aren't you very strong? When General Long comes with a group of strong people, you will know how weak you are. Helping the spirit race will be the biggest mistake of your life. Lei Yun sneered and said. Everyone's face suddenly changed. If General Long personally led a group of people to attack them, the spirit race would definitely fall. Slap! A heavy slap landed on Lei Yun's face. When everyone reacted, they found out that it was Tianyan who slapped Lei Yun's face. They didn't expect that it was Tianyan who slapped Lei Yun instead of Yi Qingxian. I feel that sparing your life is my biggest mistake, Tianyan said indifferently. If you're tired of looking at him, you can leave him to me. I'll help you get rid of him. In other people's ears, they thought that they didn't have the heart to kill Lei Yun, so they wanted him to do it himself. In fact, Lei Yun was a lot of experience for him, and he had a lot of divine rune mastery experience, so how could he let it go? There's no need. We will imprison him in the ice realm of the spirit tribe and let him suffer the pain of being frozen to death. Yi Qingxuan's gaze turned into a cold light that wanted to pierce through him. Ice territory. Lei Yun's face changed. How could he not know what kind of place the ice territory was? The deeper he went, the more pain he felt. His body was slowly being frozen. It felt like he was being pierced by countless sharp thorns, and it lasted for a long time until he was completely frozen. During the whole process, he stayed awake and felt the intense pain, which made him wish he was dead. In the end, he would still die, but he had already suffered too much pain, so he wanted to die. All right then, Tianyan felt a little helpless. This was a divine rune master's divine rune mastery. Just a little bit more mastery was enough for him to improve his divine rune mastery. Take him to the ice territory. Yi Qingxian waved her hand, and signaled her people to take him away. Yes, Saintess. They nodded and dragged Lei Yun away. Without his cultivation, Lei Yun was like a child. He couldn't struggle at all. You are dead. The spirit race will be destroyed in your hands. Only I can lead the spirit race to glory. Lei Yun kept struggling, and his face was full of anger and unwillingness. If you don't let me go, the old ancestor will die, and you will also die. Yi Qingxian and the others turned a deaf ear to Lei Yun's threat. As long as they were not fools, they knew that even if they let Lei Yun go, they would not be able to free the old ancestor. The spirit race fell into the hands of the Netherworld Empire, which meant that the Netherworld Empire would be in charge of the spirit race. Moreover, could Lei Yun's words be trusted? Would letting him go save everything? Saintess, what should we do now? If we continue like this, the Netherworld Empire will definitely send a lot of strong people to suppress us. Elder Yin looked at Yi Qingxian and asked. Yi Qingxian was silent. She didn't know what to do. She always felt a sense of helplessness. In the face of the huge Netherworld Empire, she felt very powerless. Don't worry. We should go and rescue the old ancestor while they don't know the news. At this time, Yi Tianyun, who was an outsider, interrupted. Everyone was startled and looked at him strangely. Everyone wanted to save the old ancestor. But did they have the key? Of course we know this, but we don't have the key. Even if we sneak in, we can't open the prison. Yi Qingxian sighed. Chapter 305. Yi Tianyun's words didn't cause too much of a commotion. They all shook their heads. That's right, we don't even have the key. How can we go in and save people? What? You have the key. Elder Yin and the others are wondering if they heard it wrong. They just said it subconsciously, and when they reacted, they realized that Yi Tianyun actually has a key. You really have the key? Yi Qingxian had a weird expression on her face. Yi Tianyun was like a savior sent by the heavens. Not only did he help them get rid of the intruders, he even had the key to the prison. I do have it. When I went to Dragon Gathering City, I killed Cheng Feng and found the key. Yi Tianyun wasn't lying. He did get the key after killing Cheng Feng. However, it was dropped and not found on his body. You killed Cheng Feng? Yi Qingxian thought for a while and exclaimed, could it be that you were behind what happened in Dragon Gathering City? Am I behind what? I'm helping the people get rid of the evil. Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders. Friend, were you the one who caused the destruction of so many factions, including the 2 ministers, as well as the burning of the Dragon Gathering City? Elder Yin asked. That's right, it was me. Yi Tianyun didn't have anything to hide. The people here were all core members, and it was impossible for there to be a spy. Even if there was a spy, he didn't have to worry. His current face was fake. There was no need to worry about anything. Elder Yin had a weird expression on his face. Although he knew that Yi Tianyun was powerful, he was shocked when he heard that it was this young man in front of him who caused such a huge commotion. If anyone dared to say that he was a spy, Elder Yin would be the first to kill him, burning the Dragon Gathering City's palace and getting rid of so many factions. Even if he wanted to sneak into the spirit race, he would have to pay a huge price. Everyone had a strange expression on their faces. They were wondering what the Netherworld Empire had done to provoke him to do such a thing. Is there a problem with that? Yi Tianyun asked. That's not a problem. They didn't ask why Yi Tianyun did such a thing, but they knew that Yi Tianyun had a deep hatred for the Netherworld Empire. As long as there are no problems, when do you plan to act? The sooner the better. While they don't know what's going on here, let's act quickly, Yi Tianyun said in a deep voice. They all nodded. Previously, they were worried about the problem of the key. Now that they had the key, they could enter. By the way, is young Mastery sure that the key is the key to open the prison? Elder Yin asked curiously. I'm not too sure. I only know that it's the key to the prison. Yi Tianyun thought for a moment before saying, because there are too many uncertainties, I think it's better to move as few people as possible. How about this? I'll go with Qingxian. How about this? Elder Yin frowned. If the key was fake, they would be in danger, especially Yi Qingxian. She was the future hope of the spirit tribe. No problem. I'll go with you. Yi Qingxian agreed without hesitation. The fewer people, the better. If a large group of people went in, they would definitely be discovered. In fact, Yi Tianyun wanted to go alone. Not only did he know how to teleport, but he was also very strong. As long as it wasn't a void spirit stage expert, he would be able to deal with them. His concealment ability was top-notch. Very few people would be able to discover him. However, if he went alone, it would be troublesome if the spirit race didn't come out with him. Moreover, they needed someone to lead them out, and he would stand in front of them. This was the best solution. Saintess. Elder Yin was about to say something, but Yi Qingxian shook her head and interrupted him. Don't say anything, there won't be a problem. If we don't do this now, we won't have a chance. Yi Qingxian knew the seriousness of the situation. The longer they waited, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. All right, I'll stay here and guard. Elder Yin gritted his teeth and said, even if I die, I will protect the spirit tribe. Us too. Even if we die, we will protect the spirit tribe. The other spirit tribe members said in a firm tone. Good. Yi Qingxian said, then let's get ready. We'll leave immediately. Everyone nodded and began to prepare. Yi Qingxian and Yi Tianyun had their own arrangements. Yi Qingxian didn't prepare much. She only prepared some pills and some equipment. She didn't prepare anything else. This time, I'm very happy that you helped me. You helped me before, and this time, you've saved the entire spirit tribe. I don't know how to repay you. After Yi Qingxian finished preparing, her silver eyes reflected Yi Tianyun's figure. Yi Tianyun saw endless gratitude in her eyes. If it wasn't for him, the spirit tribe really wouldn't be able to resist. Yi Tianyun smiled and patted his chest, then pointed to his head. Didn't you reward me? Not only do I have the inner eye, but I also have the memory of the divine sigil. Even the divine sigil that Lei Yun desired is in my head. Isn't that enough? That was the reward last time, it's different this time. Yi Qingxian shook her head and said, I thought about it. The only thing I can give you is the position of Spirit King. The position of Spirit King. Yi Tianyun was stunned. He didn't expect this to come out of her mouth. Yes, you have my talent. You have amazing talent in divine sigil, and you have amazing strength. I want you to become the Spirit King of the Spirit Tribe. Yi Qingxuan's expression became serious. As long as you can save all the Spirit Tribe members, even if you're an outsider, you can still become the Spirit King of the Spirit Tribe. Why me? Isn't there an Emperor Qin? Even Lei Yin couldn't become a Spirit King because he was too impulsive. I'm an outsider. Can I? Yi Tianyun knew that he had to go to this step, but he wanted to hear Yi Qingxuan's reason. I don't know why, but I feel that you can lead the Spirit Tribe to glory. Yi Qingxian said in a low voice. Of course, it's not that easy to become the Spirit King. Many people in the tribe will oppose it, but I want to support you to become our king. Commander points are too high. Yi Tianyun remembered that he had the Commander Grimoire. In addition, he had completed a few missions and earned a lot of commander points, which gave him more authority. What commander points? Yi Qingxian asked curiously. It's okay. We'll talk about this after we save all the Spirit Tribe members. If we don't save them, everything else is useless. Yi Tianyun smiled faintly. But before that, I want to receive a reward. Is that possible? You even saved the entire Spirit Tribe. We can give you any reward. Yi Qingxian asked curiously. What is it? Chapter 306. Soul Accumulating Grass? Yi Qingxian said without hesitation. That's not a problem. We have a few of them in our family. They are very rare and only grow in the pond. It can be said that apart from this lake of jade, it is very rare in the entire heavenly boundary continent. Without more than a few decades, this soul accumulating grass basically won't mature. So rare. Yi Tianyun was surprised. He didn't expect it to be so rare. The appraisal I didn't say whether it was rare or not. Yes, if I were to sell it outside, it would definitely be crazily fought over. It's priceless. Most of them are used to refine soul, accumulating pills which can strengthen the soul. It's the favorite of divine pattern masters. However, the price is too high, and it's too rare. The effect can only be said to be SOSO, so not many divine inscriptionists can afford it. Yi Qingxian smiled. Soul accumulating grass is usually given as a reward to whoever contributes more. Now that you've saved the entire astral race, I can't give you too many, so I can only give you 2. After all, it's not up to me to decide. But if you can save the old ancestor and the others, you can even get the position of Spirit King. Let's talk about this later. I want the soul accumulating grass now. Tianyan wanted to see how much experience he could get. I'm going to break into the prison. I don't know if I can break through to the 4th level of the core transformation stage. The higher the better. No problem. I'll go get it now. Yi Qingxian led him forward. By the way, the spirit race has been besieged. Have you ever thought of escaping from here? Tianyan was very curious about this. He felt that they were very stubborn. If they chose to escape from the heavenly border continent and hide in other continents, it would be very difficult for the Netherworld Empire to find them. Alas, we have thought about this for a long time, but giving up here is equivalent to giving up everything. To put it bluntly, if we leave here, we will be cursed to not be able to have children. Yi Qingxian said in a deep voice, so if there is no other way, we will not abandon this place. What? Tianyan was shocked. He didn't expect that there was such a deep meaning in it. He had thought that they were too stubborn, but it turned out that if they left this place, they wouldn't even be able to give birth. This was too serious. It wasn't just serious. If they escaped from here and didn't return, the final outcome would be total annihilation. Is this really a curse? Even if you marry someone from the outside world, it won't work? Tianyan wondered. Yes, as long as we leave this area, we will not be able to reproduce. Yi Qingxian said, actually, we know what's going on. There's a special energy underground that can nourish us, but we don't know what kind of energy it is. They had been here since their ancestors had been here. Unless we know how to break this curse, we will not be able to leave this place. Forcibly leaving this place will only result in death. So that's how it is. It seems that I have misunderstood you. Tianyan shook his head. This was indeed frightening. The spirit race was basically a cursed race. How could they be favored by the heavens? Don't worry, we're used to it. Yi Qingxian brought him to the treasury and signaled for the guards to open the door. She let him in and took out the soul-accumulating grass. Other than the soul-accumulating grass, there were many other spiritual medicines and weapons. As a top force of the 3rd rank, they were definitely rich. Plus, they all knew how to carve divine glyphs. If they went out to help other forces carve divine glyphs, they would definitely be rewarded handsomely. If it weren't for the fact that the spirit race had difficulty reproducing, they would have become a 4th-rank force long ago. This is the soul-accumulating grass. Do you need anything else? Yi Qingxian asked. Although many of them have been taken away, there are still many left. That's enough for now. I just want to try this soul-accumulating grass. Tianyan smiled. You want to make a soul-accumulating pill for yourself to increase your soul strength? Yi Qingxian asked. Yes, you could say that. Tianyan didn't know what to say. He couldn't say that he wanted to gain experience points, could he? That's fine. Go ahead and refine the pill first. I'll make arrangements here. Yi Qingxian didn't ask any further. She brought him to the alchemy room and told him to refine the pill while she went to settle some matters. In the entire alchemy room, there was only Tianyan. He immediately took out a soul-accumulating grass and threw it into the purple fire divine furnace without hesitation. He quickly started refining the pill like crazy. He didn't want to drag things out. It would be best if he could break into the prison as soon as possible. Blaze! Flames continued to appear, refining the soul-accumulating grass. Since he was already a high-level alchemy expert and his luck wasn't low, his success rate was quite high. He had a success rate of 80%. If he still failed, he wouldn't be able to face anyone. 1,000 experience points, 3,000 experience points, 2,000 experience points. At this time, a fragrance wafted out. Just smelling the fragrance was enough to give him a lot of experience points. Of course, it was impossible to keep smelling it to level up. The pill would eventually dissipate completely. Otherwise, it wouldn't be stored in a jade bottle. Just smelling this fragrance can give me experience points. To me, This soul-accumulating pill is equivalent to an experience grass. Etienne nodded and continued refining. Under the crazy alchemy mode, it didn't take long for him to successfully refine the soul-accumulating pill. Ding! Successfully refined a 5th-grade pill, the soul-accumulating pill. Obtained 500,000 experience points, 500 alchemy proficiency points. Just by successfully refining the pill, the experience gained was quite good. The higher the grade of the pill, the more experience gained. This made him very satisfied. He then poured out the soul-accumulating pill. There weren't many, only 3. One soul-accumulating grass could at most produce 3 pills. Moreover, he achieved the effect of the 3rd refining. The more effective it was, the lower the success rate. Originally, he wanted to refine a pill with the effect of the 5th refining. However, the success rate was only 10%. It was terrifying. The 3rd refining was the most conservative and also the most suitable level. This time, let's see how effective it is. Etienne stuffed the soul-accumulating pill into his mouth, chewed it a little, and swallowed it. Ding! Consumed the soul-accumulating pill. Obtained 10 million experience points. Explosion. Absolute explosion. Etienne was dumbfounded. A whole 10 million experience points. His heart shook violently. At first, he thought a few million experience points would be good enough. He didn't expect it to be a whole 10 million experience points. Chapter 307. 10 million EXP. This is definitely an explosive amount of EXP. If I take more than a dozen of them, I will definitely level up directly. Etienne was shocked. His heart couldn't calm down for a long time. This time he finally saw what was called experience. There are always some things that can provide an explosive amount of EXP, just like some demon beasts that look very weak, but after killing them they will drop the best equipment. This accumulating soul pill is the ultimate benefit. It gives 10 million EXP. He now needs 140 million EXP to level up, and he only needs 14 pills to level up. However, accumulating soul grass is very rare. As Yi Qingxian has said before, it is indeed very rare in the entire Heavenly Borders continent, and the price is extremely high. Alright, I almost forgot. Let's see how much is it in the shop. Etienne opened the shop excitedly, and what caught his eyes was a very shocking price of 1 million crazy point, which made him silently close the shop. Sure enough, this bastard shop is definitely a scam. It will definitely not give a good price. Hoping that it would come up with something cheap and good was simply a fool's dream. Forget it, I will ask Star Pavilion to help me collect more pills later. Etienne helplessly shook his head. He felt that it was quite a pity, but he will not give up on this accumulating soul pill. 10 million EXP. How many demon beasts or core transformation stage experts would he need to kill to get 10 million EXP? Therefore, no matter how high the price is, he will buy it. Immediately, he continued to take the next 2 pills and immediately got 20 million EXP, which made him feel very comfortable. If he was given a few hundred pills, it would really be a big deal. After taking the pills, he pondered for a while, looked at the accumulating soul grass in his hand and said, I don't know how the effect of the 4th refinement is. The 4th refinement will greatly increase the difficulty, causing the success rate to be greatly reduced. When he chose to try the 4th refinement, he found that the success rate dropped from 80% to 40%. This success rate is a bit low, and this is with the combination of the purple fire divine furnace, prestige value, and the immortal fire. It's only a 40% success rate, which is a bit too low. The legendary 9th refinement pill is already at the level of divine pill. I guess I can only try using Lucky Halo. Etienne instantly activated his Lucky Halo, and his success rate instantly soared to 70%. However, it was only an increase of 30%, which was probably the limit of the increase. 70% chance of success? Let's do it. Etienne felt that this success rate was still acceptable. He immediately deactivated the Lucky Halo and quickly started refining. The Lucky Halo only needed to be activated at the very end. If it was activated continuously, he really couldn't afford to waste it. Shortly after, he quickly began to refine pills and continued to refine pills in a frenzied manner. When he was preparing to condense the pills, he activated the Lucky Halo. Whether or not he could succeed would depend on this node. Ding! Successfully concocted the accumulating soul pill. Reward: 600,000 experience points, 600 alchemy proficiency points. Tisk, not bad. The effect of the fourth refinement can also increase experience and proficiency. Etienne felt very satisfied. If he could refine the ninth refinement pill, the experience he would gain would also be explosive. It was just that the difficulty was a bit too terrifying. Pouring the accumulating soul pill into his hand, the glossy surface of the pill became even more glossy. He didn't hesitate to put it into his mouth, and suddenly the experience points exploded in his mouth. Ding! Successfully consumed the accumulating soul pill. Reward: 15,000,000 experience points. Increasing the refinement pill by 5 million experience points. Etienne felt like he just ate a bomb, and it exploded in his mouth. 15 million EXP. What if it was above the 5th refinement pill, or even the 9th refinement pill? He didn't dare to imagine what level of experience points he would get, but one thing was for sure, that is, the experience points won't be more than 5 million experience points. He calmed his mind and immediately swallowed the pill, following which a pleasant sound was heard. Ding! Congratulations to the player Etienne for successfully breaking through to the 4th layer of core transformation stage. Finally, he leveled up again, and the speed was quite fast. If it wasn't for the accumulating soul pill, he wouldn't have been able to break through so fast. It's a pity that it's gone, otherwise, I could have gotten more experience points. Etienne nodded. The experience points he got from killing monsters was still considerable, but compared to the accumulating soul pill, it was still too far away. This was the type of experience pill he was looking for, and it was an explosive experience pill. When he was a little bit slower, a figure appeared at the door. Yi Qingxian had already finished her business and came to find him. You have finished refining the pill? Yi Qingxian saw Etienne sitting there without any movement. Well, I have finished eating, Etienne said with a smile. Let's go. We can go now. Are you ready? Ready, we can go at any time. Yi Qingxian said with a dignified expression. The place they were going to was extremely dangerous, and there was a high chance of survival. If they encountered General Long, how could they escape? Others didn't know how to escape, but Etienne knew how to escape, and he could escape directly with instant transmission. But this instant transmission was not omnipotent. It could only be used in a place where one's spirit sense could detect, and there was no obstruction. If one couldn't detect the place, then there was no way to teleport in. But if he couldn't detect the place, he really didn't dare to teleport in casually. If there were any traps inside, he would only be dragged into the pit. Well, let's go now. Etienne nodded and immediately walked out with Yi Qingxian. When they were ready to leave the forest, Yuan was already waiting for them at the door. Sister, big brother, you must come back safely. Yuan threw herself into her sister's arms. They had been busy all the time, and the sisters rarely gathered together. Don't worry, we'll be back soon. Etienne smiled. This was not a problem for him, but they all thought that it was too dangerous. Yes, we will be very successful this time. Wait for us to come back. Yi Qingxian hugged her and comforted her. After saying goodbye, they left the forest, not on the giant eagle, but Etienne flew with Yi Qingxian. Yi Qingxuan's cultivation has not broken through to core transformation stage, so she still relies on Etienne to fly. We must succeed this time. Yi Qingxuan's silver eyes were full of determination. I said, as long as I am here, you don't have to worry. Etienne said with a confident smile. If he didn't even have this much confidence, how could he become a strong expert? Chapter 308. Under the lead of Etienne, they quickly went to the Netherworld Empire's territory, the Netherworld Continent. The Netherworld Continent was next to the Heavenly Boundary Continent. The entire continent belonged to the Netherworld Empire. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called the Netherworld Continent. The Netherworld Empire had absolute power here. If the Netherworld Empire ordered someone to do something, then the person couldn't resist. In fact, the forces in the Netherworld Continent were equivalent to subordinates. Otherwise, they wouldn't stay in the Netherworld Empire. The Netherworld Empire's ambition had already extended to the heavenly boundary continent, but there were also many who didn't want to join, so they didn't dare to force their way in. The area where the spirit race was imprisoned was not far away. It was just at the edge of the Netherworld continent. It was very famous in the Netherworld continent. It was called the Netherworld Prison. They mainly locked up some prisoners, but no one knew exactly who they were. However, there was one thing that many people knew, and that was that after they were locked up, they were never seen coming out again. In the Netherworld continent, the most heavily guarded place was definitely the Netherworld Imperial Capital. This was the place where the Netherworld Emperor lived, so the security was naturally the most heavily guarded. The second place was the Netherworld Prison, which was closely followed by the Netherworld Prison. The security there was so tight that even a mosquito couldn't fly in. If one wanted to break in addition to amazing stealth techniques, they must also have amazing strength. Otherwise, they would be killed by the guards inside. The Netherworld Prison is in front of us. Let's quickly fly down. The higher we fly, the more likely we will be discovered. Yi Qingxian signaled Yi Tianyun to fly down with her. Yi Tianyun nodded. Even if Yi Qingxian didn't say it, he could see that the Netherworld Prison was in front of them. From afar, they could see an impenetrable wall that sealed the entire area. It was like a huge cover covering the ground. The wall was very thick. Aside from the main gate, there were no other exits. There were also divine runes engraved on the wall. Yi Tianyun understood this divine rune. It was a Grandmaster-level divine rune that could greatly enhance the defense of the wall. Not to mention spirit core cultivators. Even core transformation cultivators wouldn't be able to easily break the wall. They might be able to break through with a barrage of attacks, but by the time they broke through, they would already be heavily surrounded. How extravagant. It's filled with reinforcement runes. Forget about being a prison. If it were to be used as a city, it would definitely be very difficult to break through. Yi Tianyun looked at the prison, feeling extremely shocked. The divine markings on the surface were all carved by the Patriarch. The divine markings on the inside were also carved by the Patriarch and the spirit race. It can be said that the Netherworld Prison was built by our own hands. Yi Qingxian gritted her teeth and said, I didn't expect it to become our prison in the end, mainly to imprison our spirit clan. Why did they spend so much effort to build this prison? Yi Tianyun frowned. How could there be so many people locked up? After we built it, we didn't go in, so we don't know who's imprisoned here. But now that we know that there are astrals imprisoned inside, that's enough, Yi Qingxian said hatefully. Well, let's go closer and see the situation. Yi Tianyun took the lead and walked forward. The closer they got, the more they could see the magnificent Netherworld Prison. It looked like a small city. There was nothing around the Netherworld Prison, so as long as someone approached, they would be able to see it from afar. Before they got too close, Yi Qingxian signaled Yi Tianyun to stop. Let's go from the side. There is only one gate in the entire Netherworld Prison. Aside from this gate, there are no other entrances. Yi Qingxian said, From the surface, it seems so. We can only go in from the front. Yi Tianyun looked around. There was only one entrance to the Netherworld Prison. There was a huge gate at the front, which looked very imposing. But now it was closed by the heavy gate, so there was no way to go in. Unless they used brute force to break the gate, there was no way to enter. The gate at the front is also reinforced with divine glyphs. It'll be even harder to get in. Yi Qingxian shook her head. We can sneak in from another area. Don't forget, the divine glyphs in this prison were carved by us astrals, so we know how to break it. We sent some astral disciples in before, but they never came out. I'm afraid they've met with mishaps. They'll definitely be on guard. But at this point, if we don't hurry, the ancestor will be in trouble. Yi Tianyun nodded. Yi Qingxian followed him here not because she was reckless, but because she was prepared. If they couldn't even enter the gate, then what was the point of having the prison key? Yi Qingxian brought him closer to the prison and pointed to the ground. We'll dig a tunnel from here, then break the divine glyphs from underground, then break open this rock. That way, we'll be able to sneak in. No, there's no need to go through so much trouble. Wait a moment. Yi Tianyun shook his head. He didn't want to go through so much trouble. Under Yi Qingxuan's puzzled gaze, he began to explore the front with his powerful spiritual sense. His cultivation had reached the 4th level of the core transformation stage, so his spiritual senses detection range was definitely more than 10 miles, which was already considered very far. He wanted to see if he could explore the situation inside. He didn't need to explore too deep, just a short distance would be enough. Immediately after he tried to forcibly penetrate the wall, he found that he was immediately blocked by the thick wall. To be exact, he was blocked by the divine glyphs on the wall. The divine glyphs had the effect of blocking the detection of spiritual sense, so it wasn't easy to get in. Not to mention penetrating the wall, he couldn't even penetrate an inch. I don't believe it. Etienne opened his eyes, and a blue light burst out from his eyes. The heavenly eye was released from his chest, and suddenly, his spiritual force became much stronger. Yi Qingxian felt very strange. She didn't know why Etienne suddenly used the heavenly eye. After using the heavenly eye, his spiritual force suddenly soared. Soon, all the divine glyphs on the wall appeared in front of him, and he could see which part was weak and which part was strong. It's here. Soon, he found a place where the divine glyphs were relatively weak compared to other places. Then his spiritual sense rushed towards it, and combined with the heavenly eye, the effect of his spiritual sense suddenly increased several times. Bang! In an instant, his spiritual sense penetrated into the wall and clearly explored a small area inside. Soon he stopped, looked at Yi Qingxian, and said with a smile, "Okay, we can go in now." Chapter 309. Yi Qingxian nodded. She didn't know what Etienne was doing, but since he said that they could go in, she didn't ask anymore. Time was of the essence. All right, let's start digging the tunnel now. Yi Qingxian took out 2 pickaxes. These pickaxes were not ordinary, they were soul tools. It was obvious that they knew they were going to dig a tunnel, so they specially made soul tool pickaxes. Although they were low-grade soul tools, they were still soul tools. With the soul tool pickaxes, digging would be much easier and faster. At least, it would be much faster than using a sword or a knife. Etienne was speechless when he saw the pickaxes. We don't need these pickaxes. If you don't need to dig, do you want to dig with a sword or with your hands? Yi Qingxian handed him a pickaxe and said, "Don't look at me like this. I've been raising spirit herbs in the spirit tribe. I have to take care of them every day. I'm very familiar with the pickaxes. You won't be able to dig as fast as me." "That's not what I meant." Etienne shook his head and said with a smile, "Do you believe that I can bring you in instantly? There's no need to dig a tunnel or break through the sacred glyph." "I don't believe you." Yi Qingxian shook her head, her eyes full of disbelief. "This wall is so thick, and there are sacred glyph on it. How can we go in instantly? Even if we can fly, there needs to be an entrance to enter." "What if I go in?" Etienne smiled. "If you bring me in like this, I'll do whatever you want me to do." Yi Qingxian snorted. She really didn't believe it. "That's fine. You said it yourself." Etienne smiled. "Then close your eyes now and listen to me. Open your eyes when I tell you to." "What do you want to do?" Yi Qingxian looked at him suspiciously. "I don't know what you want to do." "All right, I'll close my eyes. If you lie to me, I'll teach you a lesson." After that, she closed her eyes. In the next instant, Etienne grabbed her shoulders, causing her body to tremble. Why did he suddenly grab her? Could it be? Etienne's eyes flashed, and he disappeared with Yi Qingxian. In the next second, Etienne appeared inside the city wall. Etienne teleported to one of the small rooms, which was the guard's lounge. It was right next to the wall, so it was the safest place to hide. "That's enough," said Etienne. Soon after, Yi Qingxian opened her eyes. What entered her eyes was actually a room, and it seemed to be a simple and crude residence. Although she didn't know whose room it was, looking at the wall next to her, she exclaimed in shock. Wherein, she had come in contact with a netherworld prison before. When the construction was about to start, she came in to take a look. Therefore, she was very clear about the structure inside. She was very clear about where the rooms were and where the prisons were. Now, the situation in this room immediately shocked her. Yes, I've said it before. I brought you in just like that. Etienne smiled. Teleportation was a trump card, But that was only for the enemy. For his own people, he would use it sooner or later, especially when they were running for their lives. What should be exposed still had to be exposed. Moreover, he didn't really want to use a hoe to dig in. Not only was it a waste of time, but it was also really troublesome. How did you do it? Yi Qingxian was shocked. She couldn't calm down for a long time. This was already beyond her understanding. I don't know how to explain it. In short, it's a secret skill to save my life. I can't use it normally. Yi Tianyun didn't know how to explain it. Teleportation didn't exist here. Is it teleportation? Yi Qingxian thought of an ability. Teleportation? Yi Tianyun thought for a while and said, that's more or less the same. You can say that. Teleportation was mainly targeted at those with a physique of the space attribute. It could be used to teleport a short distance. If one's spiritual sense was too weak, they wouldn't be able to detect the trajectory at all. It would be like disappearing into thin air. Therefore, the space attribute physique was especially rare. When one's cultivation was not very high, they could use teleportation. Those who didn't have the space attribute physique could still use the teleportation ability. But relatively speaking, those with the space attribute would be stronger. Not to mention other things, the storage ring that opened up space would have a much larger capacity if it was forged by those with the space attribute physique. This was one of the advantages. Is this a special space attribute physique? Yi Qingxian looked him up and down as if she had seen a ghost. But if it was teleportation, could it teleport such a long distance? Is this very important? Yi Tianyun shrugged helplessly. That's true. As long as it's not an enemy, it's fine. Speaking of which, it's really surprising that you can teleport. But this way, we'll be saved a lot of trouble. Yi Qingxian nodded and quickly took out 2 divine rune talismans from her storage space. These were also master-level divine rune talismans. She handed one to Yi Tianyun and said, stick this divine rune talisman on your body. As long as your cultivation hasn't reached the core transformation stage, it will be very difficult to find us. Okay, no problem. Yi Tianyun took the divine rune and stuck it on his body. Sure enough, as soon as he stuck it on his body, he immediately felt like he was going to disappear. To be precise, he merged with the surrounding environment. From a distance, it was impossible to see anyone standing there. Let's go, follow me. I'm very familiar with the way here. Roughly, the prison is divided into several areas. I think the old ancestor and the others should be imprisoned in the forbidden area. Yi Qingxian explained, the forbidden area can prohibit all spiritual power from entering, so they can't recover. It also prohibits them from using spiritual power. In this way, they don't need to destroy their dantian and can suppress their power. Yi Qingxian was afraid that Yi Tianyun didn't know, so she explained. You're so familiar with this place. Why don't you have the key? Yi Tianyun asked. We are very familiar with this place, but only the divine rune is engraved by us. We didn't make the cage, so we don't know the situation of the key. Yi Qingxian felt a little helpless, so we also don't know whether your key is real or not. But since you obtained it from Cheng Feng, it is very likely that it is real. Yi Tianyun knew that if it was real, it must be real. This was something that Cheng Feng didn't give to him. It must be real. I see. Then let's not delay. Let's go now. Yi Tianyun nodded. Chapter 310. After they successfully sneaked into the passage, there were no guards around. It's not that the security was not tight enough, but there was no need for it to be so tight. There was only one entrance in the whole area, so there were very few guards. The main thing was to guard the key areas. The other areas didn't need to be guarded at all. Just because the security was not tight, it didn't mean that there were no guards. After they had stealthed for a certain distance, 5 guards quickly walked towards them. Yi Qingxian quickly signaled Yi Tianyun to stop, and then quickly squatted down. In the blink of an eye, she merged with the wall. Unless someone attacked with a weapon, they would never find out that Yi Qingxian was hiding here. Yi Tianyun also squatted down and stuck to the wall, completely disappearing from their line of sight. The concealment divine talisman can't be used to hide people. It's easy to see through it unless the other person's cultivation is too low. But once they squat down and stay still, As long as it's not a very strong core transformation cultivator, they won't be able to detect their existence. The 5 guards passing by were not low cultivation. The leader was a spirit core cultivator. The rest were core condensation cultivators. Basically, there are no guards below core condensation cultivator here, so it's impossible to enter this place with low cultivation. The guards glanced at their surroundings and didn't find anything strange. They continued to patrol and didn't stop at all. Obviously, they didn't notice their existence, so they continued to leave. After they walked far away, Yi Qingxian quickly got up and walked forward with Yi Tianyun. After a few turns, they entered another area where they can see thick cages made of extremely hard materials. It's very difficult to break them. There are rows of rooms here, in which many cultivators were imprisoned with shackles on their hands and feet. These are not ordinary shackles. They can limit their strength. Even if their cultivation is not low, under these shackles, their strength will be greatly reduced. You dogs of the Netherworld Empire, let us out. If you let us out, your Netherworld Empire will be destroyed sooner or later. Please let me out. I'm willing to do anything for you. Some of the cultivators locked in the cages would rather die than submit, while others kept begging for mercy. They looked quite miserable. Quiet down. Do you want to die? The guard angrily stomped on the cage, causing a dang-dang sound to resound throughout the area. Let us out, you dogs of the Netherworld Empire. One of the cultivators rushed up and laid on the sturdy cage, roaring, "You will all die a horrible death. Even if you die, you will never be able to reincarnate. Damn it, then I'll let you die first." The guard did not hesitate to stab the spear in his hand, piercing through the cultivator who had pounced on him. Then, he quickly withdrew his spear. The cultivator's eyes widened as he lay on the ground, twitching nonstop. It seemed that he was not far from death. Who else has any complaints? Speak up. I guarantee that you won't be able to speak for the rest of your lives. The guard glared at them, not caring about their lives at all. All of a sudden, a lot of people's voices weakened. They did not dare to continue to resist. The guard simply wanted to kill them without mercy. I am willing to join the Netherworld Empire. I am willing to serve, one of the core condensation cultivators said while trembling. All right, then you can come out and eat this pill. The guard opened the cage and pulled him out, then handed him a pill and said coldly, I'll eat. The core condensation cultivator quickly swallowed the pill, but who knew that as soon as he swallowed the pill, his body began to twitch and scream. Several dark veins appeared on his body. It seems that he was poisoned. After a while, the guard took out another pill and stuffed it into the cultivator's mouth. Soon, the cultivator recovered, and his eyes were filled with fear. This is a temporary antidote pill. If you don't obey, then you will suffer the pain of thousands of insects. You must take it every once in a while, otherwise you will die. Don't expect to find a real antidote pill. Only the Netherworld Empire has this kind of pill. The guard picked him up and threw him to one of his men. Take him away. It seems that his strength is not bad. Let him work in the mine. Of course, if any alchemist really concocted the antidote, then he will not be far from death. Immediately after, the guard coldly looked at the group of cultivators and said, Are there any of you willing to surrender? Don't worry, no one will save you in this lifetime. If you don't obey our orders, then you can only die here. I'm also willing. One of the core condensation cultivators quickly walked over and said, I can forge weapons. Can I get better treatment? Of course, no problem. I will send you to forge weapons. The treatment is definitely better than those miners. The guard handed him a poison pill and motioned him to swallow it. The blacksmith hesitated for a while, but in the end, he still consumed the poisonous pill. Following that, he began to scream in pain, and it was no different from before. After feeling the pain for a while, the guard gave him the antidote pill, temporarily alleviating the invasion of the poison. They first let these prisoners feel the pain, then they will know how powerful the poison is so that they will not resist. Take him to the refining room. Let him forge weapons. The guard waved his hand and motioned his men to take the prisoner away. Who else wants to join? If you want to join, take this poison pill. If you don't take it, you can't leave. The guard stared at them, and said coldly. Tianyun, who was hiding on the side, saw this scene. This is simply a coercion to force the cultivators to join the Netherworld Empire. These cultivators' cultivation is not low. All of them are at core condensation level, and they have some skills. Tianyun roughly understood that the Netherworld Empire wants to capture a lot of people to work for them, and then use this poison pill to severely restrict them. This kind of overbearing behavior is much faster than slowly training disciples, and the effect is immediate, and there is no way to resist. Resistance is death. Anyway, killing them won't waste any of their resources. This Netherworld Empire is really overbearing. As long as they do not obey their orders, they will all die. The Netherworld Empire should be destroyed. Yi Qingxian said coldly. Yes. Now I have a good way to quickly escape from here. Tianyun said with a smile. What way? Yi Qingxian asked. Chapter 3:11. Release everyone? Yi Qingxian was startled. That's right, release everyone. This way, everyone will frantically run out and take advantage of the chaos to destroy the Netherworld prison. Let's see how they can still do evil then. Tianyun's eyes flashed and said, We don't have the keys to the prisons inside, but the guards have the keys to the prisons here. The guards have the keys to the prisons with low cultivation, but they don't have the keys to the prisons with high security. This is a good idea, but if they run around, they will be killed. Yi Qingxian felt that it was a bit cruel. Letting them run out would create chaos, but they would suffer. Their cultivation was not high, and a spirit core stage cultivator could kill them without any resistance. This was undoubtedly very cruel. When did I say that? This is obviously unfair to them. Tianyun shook his head and said, We must rescue the spirit clan first. If we do it too early, we will alert the enemy. After we solve this problem, we will release all the cultivators. At that time, the Netherworld Empire will have a lot of enemies. Speaking up to here, Tianyun smiled coldly. There were so many cultivators imprisoned here. It was easy to imagine how much resentment they would have towards the Netherworld Empire after they were released from the Netherworld Empire. He could only rescue them. As for what would happen to them later, he couldn't do anything about it. I see. Okay, let's sneak over there. The forbidden area is this way. Yi Qingxian and Tianyun sneaked over there. The guard was only at the spirit core stage, so even if they sneaked over there, they wouldn't be able to detect anything. It was very smooth, and there was no difficulty at all. They easily sneaked over and entered another corridor. This place was the same as the walkway from before. There were many rooms here that were specially for the guards to stay and cultivate. They usually couldn't go out, so they could only temporarily live here. When they were about to go deeper, the door in front of them suddenly opened, and a spirit core stage cultivator came out. But just after he took a few steps, a red light flashed from the side and entered his chest. Pucci, the spirit core stage cultivator struggled for a while, and then immediately stopped breathing. Ding! Successfully killed the guard of the Netherworld prison. Reward, 270. 000 EXP, 3,400 crazy point, 200 SPs reward. Devil Prison Claw, Burst Cut. Reward, Exploding Sword, 1 recovery pill. A figure suddenly appeared behind the guard and quickly dragged him into the room. Then, the figure quickly came out and closed the door. After closing the door, the figure immediately went to the wall and quickly hid. Your technique is too good. Yi Qingxian felt a little speechless. This assassination technique can be described as first class. Even she just reacted. Tianyun has already killed the guard. You are too skilled. Yi Qingxian felt a little speechless. Tianyun's assassination skills can be described as first class. Tianyun wanted to kill the 5 patrolling guards before. There are so many rooms here. After killing them, he can drag them into the room to hide. For the time being, he will not be found. But there are a lot of people. He can't guarantee that he can kill all 5 of them at once without making any sound. If they happen to report it and the security suddenly tightened, then their plan would be ruined. If there are only 1 or 2 of them, then it will be much simpler. There will be no chance for them to send a distress signal. No problem. Yi Qingxian nodded. She had the same idea. If Yi Tianyun didn't kill the guard, Yi Qingxian will definitely kill him first. These guards are scum, and each of them is extremely ruthless. It can be seen from the sin value after killing them. They have tortured a lot of cultivators here, so naturally their sin value is high. After planning, they will clear all the way. When they use their spiritual sense to detect the guards inside, they will open the door and kill them. Only in this way, they can escape more easily, and it is more convenient for those cultivators who escape from the prison. If they are stopped by the guards after a few steps, it is no different from not letting them out. Ready to go to the next area. I don't know what the next area will be like. Yi Qingxian has been here before, but she doesn't know what the next area will be like. After a while, when they just passed through the passage and were about to enter the next passage, they smelled a strong smell of blood coming from inside, followed by continuous screams. They craned their necks to look out. What they saw was that in every cage, there were cultivators being tortured in a frenzy. They were either using some kind of torture device or some kind of poison to constantly corrode their bodies. Yi Tianyun glanced at these cultivators. These cultivators have high and low cultivation. The lowest is not lower than the spirit core stage. The highest is the core transformation stage. There are so many prisoners here. Is it possible that the old ancestor is here? Yi Qingshuan's heart tightened. She glanced at the room in front of her, but she didn't see the room where the old ancestor is. But this didn't make her feel relieved. It can only be said that he is not in this area. But seeing so many people being tortured, her heart tightened. These people of the Netherworld Empire are too cruel. They have been torturing them, and then they will dig out their secrets, or wait until they're extremely weak. Then they will use the soul-searching technique. The soul-searching technique is not omnipotent. If the other party's spiritual force is not weak, it is really difficult to find out anything. These bastards. That is the great elder of Chaotian Mansion. That is the elder of Brahma Mansion. And that is the elder of Alchemy Mansion. These are the elders of some famous righteous sects, but they are captured and interrogated. Yi Qingxian bit her lips. She can't wait to rush out and kill them all. Some of the forces have a good relationship with the spirit clan, which made her even angrier. At this time, Yi Tianyun reached out his hand and put it on her body. His eyes were also full of killing intent. After we rescue the old ancestor, we will kill our way out and wash the Netherworld prison with blood. Okay. Yi Qingxian nodded heavily. In front of us is the Forbidden Spirit area. We must be imprisoned there. There is no other place to imprison us. Chapter 312. Do you want to accept the temporary side quest of Destroy the Netherworld Prison? Save all prisoners? When they were about to walk forward, a task popped up which made him stunned. Temporary side quest? I accept. Yi Tianyun didn't think about it, and immediately chose to accept the task. This was what he wanted to do anyway, so this was a quest that he had to do along the way. How could he let go of this random quest? Especially the current task. The reward is absolutely explosive. No matter what, he must accept it. Anyway, if he didn't complete it, there will be no punishment, but he will complete it anyway. How can he let go of the reward? Ding! Successfully accepted the quest, destroy the Netherworld prison, and rescue all the prisoners. Reward, 50 million EXP, 10. 000 CPS, 10. 000 SPs, 200 prestige points, 100 commander points. There is no item reward. It's all attribute reward, but this is enough. Almost all the attributes increased. Not only the experience is enough, but the other attributes also increased a lot. Overall, it is quite satisfactory. Anyway, it's just a side quest, so it doesn't matter. Not bad. It seems that God wants me to help you clean up. Yi Tianyun sneered. Very quickly, under Yi Qingshuan's lead, they once again passed through the long walkway. Along the way, they cleared out many guards, and the path was completely cleared. Fortunately, there are no generals, otherwise they will be in trouble. Under normal circumstances, General Long and the others would not stay here. Who would come to this prison if they had nothing better to do? In front of us is the forbidden area. Yi Qingshuan's voice became low. Will the forbidden area affect us? Yi Tianyun asked. No, it will only have an effect on those inside the cage. It won't have any effect on those outside. and it has to be combined with the shackles to achieve this effect, so it has nothing to do with us. Yi Qingxian said. Yi Tianyan nodded and walked out with her. When they came to the corner, Yi Tianyan looked from the side, and what he saw was the forbidden spirit area. The layout of this place was no different from the other prison areas. There were sturdy cages in all directions, but this place was filled with divine runes that continuously drained the spiritual energy in this place. It could be said that there was no spiritual power here. If one wanted to recover any spiritual power, there was no way to do so without taking medicinal pills. Inside these cages were people from the spirit race. They were all imprisoned inside, and their faces were haggard. Even though they hadn't experienced any torture, there was no spirit energy here, so it was very damaging to them. With the help of spiritual power, he could persist for a long time without eating or drinking. Now that they didn't even have spiritual power, they looked like they had been sucked dry. They looked haggard, as if they hadn't eaten or drunk for many days. Yi Tianyan scanned the area. There were quite a few astrals in prison here. There were at least 100 of them. There weren't that many astrals in the first place, and 100 or so astrals made up a small portion of their population. Of course, that was more than enough. Moreover, they didn't care if they were old or young, sick or weak. They were all imprisoned here. They looked like they were paralyzed in the arms of their clansmen, and they couldn't even speak a word. They weren't jumping around like normal children. All of the astrals looked sickly and lifeless. This was a sign that they were suffering from an extreme lack of spiritual power. I beg you, give the children something to eat. They can't hold on for much longer. Some of the astrals began to plead. They weren't asking for food for themselves, but for the children. They could continue to hold on, but the children couldn't. Their cultivation was too low, so they couldn't hold on for long like adults. Huh? Do you want to eat? The guard took some food and waved it in front of them. The eyes of the children in their parents' arms flashed with desire, but they didn't move and continued to lie in their parents' arms. After waving the food in front of them, the guard took a bite and sneered. If you want to eat, then obediently join our netherworld empire and work for us. The spirit race looked at their children and opened their mouths to say something. However, their children tugged at them and said, "Father, Mother, don't beg them. We can still persevere. We believe that the saintess will come back to save us." Children. They didn't want their children to submit to the netherworld empire, but if they continued like this, their children would die. Even if the saintess came, it wouldn't make any difference. When the guard saw that they were indifferent, he angrily stepped on the cage and said, "You have a backbone." He merely let out an angry roar and threw the food in his hand to the side. His face was filled with rage. "Lord Su, please calm down. They will soon compromise." The guard next to him comforted him. "I hope so. They don't want to compromise, and they don't want to take the poison pill. If I didn't have the key, I would have dragged them out and beat them up. If this goes on, how can we make them surrender?" Su Chang's face was full of worry. He came here to threaten them, but he couldn't rush in and torture them. He didn't have the key, so how could he open the door and enter? "Don't worry, when General Long comes, he will truthfully report what happened here, and then we will drag them out, especially those children. I don't believe that they won't compromise." They sneered. As long as they control those children, they won't be afraid that they won't compromise. That makes sense. They've been trapped in there for too long. We don't know how the poison is doing on the other side, and if we can get any information out of them. Su Chang shook his head. "I'll go over and ask about the situation." "Yes, Lord Su." When they were about to turn around and leave, a cold light quietly appeared behind them. Red light and silver light flashed, and then Su Chang and the guard fell to the ground. The guard next to them looked over and found that there were two people in front of him. "You are Pucci." Before they could finish their words, a figure had already flashed beside them. Under the flashing of red light, they all fell to the ground with their eyes wide open. They didn't know what happened, but they completely lost their consciousness. At this time, the people in front of them were Yi Qingxian and Yi Tianyan. Their eyes were full of anger. Taking advantage of the moment when they were distracted, they suddenly launched a sneak attack and killed them perfectly. Chapter 313. In their moment of despair, a familiar figure appeared in front of them. There was another figure, which was also deeply imprinted in their eyes. Looking at them now, their figures were so tall and imposing. Holy Maiden. Holy Maiden is here to save us. It's really Holy Maiden. There's another human? Who is he? Great. Holy Maiden is finally here to save us. They used the last of their strength to climb up, looking at Yi Qingxian and Yi Qingxian with eyes full of hope. Don't talk lest we attract the other guards. Yi Qingxian gestured for them to not speak loudly. In fact, they could not even speak loudly. It was already good enough that they could climb up. How could they have the strength to speak loudly? They all nodded, indicating that they understood, and kept quiet, not daring to speak. Yi Qingxian nodded at Yi Tianyun, indicating for him to open the door. Otherwise, they would not be able to save them. We must succeed. We must succeed to open the door. Yi Qingxian prayed softly. She did not want everything to be destroyed here. They had already succeeded in sneaking in, and now there was only the last step left. She did not want to fail on the verge of success. They had worked so hard to get to this step, only to fail. How tragic would that be? Don't worry, we won't fail. Yi Tianyun patted her shoulder, then took out the prison key from his inventory. The prison key did not look complicated, just like a badge. Only by embedding it could the prison door be opened. After he took it out, he directly embedded it. With a ding, the badge was firmly embedded. Then, with a creaking sound, the door slowly opened to the side, revealing a gap. When Yi Qingxian saw this, her heart almost flew out of her chest. They could really open the door. It really could be opened. Yi Qingxuan's heart was finally half relieved. This was just the beginning. Only after saving them and bringing them out could it be considered a perfect ending. Yi Tianyun also wanted to bring them out, but using teleportation was impossible. He could bring 1 or 2 people, but there were hundreds of people here, so he could not do it at all. I told you I could open it. There's no need to worry at all. Yi Tianyun wasn't worried at all. He quickly pushed the door open and motioned for the spirit race to come out. Their eyes sparkled as they looked at him, burning Yi Tianyun's figure into their minds. Their favorability towards him soared. There was no better way to help someone than to send charcoal in a snowy day. The way Yi Tianyun had opened the door for them had increased their favorability towards him. When they came out, Yi Tianyun took out a lot of medicinal pills and handed them to them, saying, "Take these medicinal pills. It will help you recover your spiritual power quickly." He still had a lot of pills. After robbing so many people's treasures, he would more or less have a lot of pills in stock. It was a pity that he didn't gain much experience after taking them, so he could only keep them. He didn't expect these recovery pills to be so useful here. Thank you, thank you. They were all very grateful and quickly took the pills. After giving them to the children, they took them themselves. In an instant, their condition was much better. Although they didn't completely recover, at least they were more energetic than before. They even had the strength to speak. Spiritual power was the foundation of their cultivation. So after recovering, they looked much more energetic. After doing this, their favorability towards him skyrocketed, causing him to be stunned. In just 2 short actions, their favorability towards him had soared past 100. Helping in a desperate situation naturally increased their favorability. Good lad, looks like you are quite sensible. This way, they will be very supportive of you becoming the Spirit King. Yi Qingxian transmitted her voice to Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders helplessly. When he did this, he didn't think too much. He just felt that they needed medicinal pills to replenish their spiritual power, especially the children. He didn't expect that he would increase their favorability by so much. This was unexpected, but after thinking about it carefully, it was very normal for such a situation to occur. Then, he helped to undo the shackles on their bodies. They only needed the badge to open them, so he didn't need to do much. With a light touch, he removed the divine patterns on them, and the shackles were easily unlocked. Saintus, the old ancestor, has been taken over there, and we don't know what's going on. Hurry up and save him. One of the Spirit Clan members hurriedly said, "We will go over now. You guys stay here for the time being. Recover your bodies, and we will take you away later," Yi Qingxian ordered. They all nodded, then squatted down nearby to check the situation. As long as it wasn't a very strong guard, they could easily deal with it in their current state. The two of them looked at each other, then quickly rushed forward. After turning a few corners, they heard a cold scolding. "Old man, I didn't expect you to be so stubborn. Even with such a strong poison, you didn't lose consciousness. As expected of the old ancestor of the spirit clan. Your cultivation is high, but in front of me, aren't you still at my mercy?" When they looked over, they immediately saw an old man nailed to the wall. His body was pitch black, and he was constantly trembling. However, there was no sign of pain in his eyes. Everything was so calm and peaceful. "Feng Wuyin, just give up. I can't let you find out the secret of the spirit clan. Do you think this poison can make me lose consciousness and let you search my soul? You are too naive." The spirit clan old ancestor snorted coldly. His tone was not very calm, but it was obvious that he could still hold on. His cultivation was at the void spirit stage, or rather, it should be said that he used to be at the spirit king stage, but because of his old age, his cultivation had declined. However, he was still an amazing existence. If he hadn't been plotted against, how could he have fallen to this point? It was easy to dodge an arrow in the open, but difficult to guard against an arrow in the dark. No matter how high one's cultivation was, there was a corresponding way to restrain it. "What a joke! Let's see how long you can hold on." Feng Wuyin sneered, then took out a bottle of poison and was about to pour it into the spirit clan old ancestor's mouth. "Feng Wuyin, how dare you?" At this time, Yi Qingxian quickly rushed out and stood outside the cage, looking at Feng Wuyin coldly. Feng Wuyin and the spirit race patriarch were both locked in the cage. Not to mention the spirit race patriarch. Even Feng Wuyin could not come out. He stayed in there to steal their memories. If he wanted to come out, he would have to wait for General Long to open the door. Chapter 314. If they want to save people, they have to open the door. No matter how fast they open the door, they will be seen, but there is no one around, so even if they are exposed, there is no problem. They are just afraid of releasing a distress signal. When Feng Wuyin saw Yi Qingxian, he was startled at first. Then he smiled and said, Oh, I was wondering who it was, so it is the Saintess. I didn't expect you to sneak in. You have some skill. You also have a human with you. It seems like you found a helper." Saintess. When the spirit race ancestor saw Yi Qingxian, he hurriedly said, "Quickly leave. You can't open this door. Quickly leave. He will inform General Long later." "What's the rush? I'm not in a rush to inform General Long." Feng Wuyin took out a jade pendant and said with sneer, "As long as I crush this jade pendant, all the guards of the Netherworld prison will be mobilized. You will not be able to escape even if you have wings. But there is no rush. I will play with you first. Let you see this old man's painful expression. It is very fun." Feng Wuyin laughed loudly and prepared to pour poison into the spirit race ancestor's mouth. "Stop, you traitor!" Yi Qingxian hurriedly shouted. Feng Wuyin is an elder of the spirit race. He betrayed the spirit race together with Lei Yun. He is here to search the spirit race ancestors' memories. But he has not succeeded, so he can only slowly poison the spirit race ancestor to weaken his mental power. But he is too strong. The poison has not weakened even after so long. If his mental power is too strong, using the soul-searching technique will instead cause him to become a fool. "Stop? If you want me to stop, come in if you have the ability," Feng Wuyin said with a very despicable smile. "You can't come in, right? You don't even have the key. How can you come in? So what if you have the key? As long as I crush this jade pendant, don't talk about saving people. You will not be able to escape." "Ha!" He laughed heartily. He felt that everything was so laughable. He felt that everything they had done was futile. They can only watch helplessly as they torture the spirit race ancestor. Unable to save him, this twisted thinking is disgusting. "Who said we can't come in?" A silhouette appeared behind him and grabbed his arm that was holding the jade pendant. With a quick pull, the entire arm was broken. Following that, the jade pendant fell to the ground and was caught by Yi Tianyan. Immediately after, he fiercely kicked Feng Wuyin. With a dong sound, Feng Wuyin was sent flying into the wall, and a large part of his body caved in. This kick was so fast that it almost killed him. If not for the fact that Feng Wuyun's cultivation was higher, he would have been kicked to death. Yi Tianyan really wants to kick him to death with this cheap look. Ah? Feng Wuyun's face was pale. Looking at Yi Tianyan, he revealed a terrified expression. You, how did you get in? Yi Qingxian and the old ancestor of the spirit tribe were shocked. They didn't see what was going on, but Yi Tianyan had already entered. Yi Qingxian remembered that Yi Tianyan could teleport, but could teleportation be used in this cage? This cage was restricted by the divine runes, so teleportation was impossible. However, Yi Tianyan did it. He easily entered and even seriously injured Feng Wuyun with a kick. Yi Tianyan's mental energy is very strong. As long as he can see the situation inside with his naked eye, he can teleport in, ignoring the restrictions of the divine runes. If he didn't know the situation and structure inside, he really wouldn't be able to teleport in. As long as he can see clearly and know the situation inside, he can teleport in. To put it bluntly, as long as he has a fixed position, he can teleport in. How can I come in? I just walked in. Yi Tianyan looked at him coldly. Immediately after, he took out the emblem and flicked it outside. It fell into Yi Qingxuan's hand. After receiving it, Yi Qingxian immediately inserted it into the groove and successfully opened the cage. This key was universal and could be used to open all the cages in the Spirit Forbidden Zone. The rest couldn't be opened. You still have the key? Could it be that General Long? Feng Wuyun looked at the key in Yi Qingxuan's hand in shock. He couldn't believe that it would appear in their hands. There are only two keys. One is in the hands of the Netherworld Emperor, and the other is in the hands of General Long. The Netherworld Emperor was killed, which is impossible. From the looks of it, General Long must have been killed. This is just wishful thinking on his part. The thing that the system dropped is equivalent to the third key. Under normal circumstances, there are only two keys. In the next moment, Feng Wuyun slapped the ground with one hand, and his whole body swept to the side. He flew towards the exit. Yi Tianyun's speed is faster than him. He blocked Feng Wuyun with one hand and kicked him. Dong! Feng Wuyun was kicked away like a ball. Feng Wuyun's cultivation is not low. He is at the 5th level of the core transformation stage. However, in front of Yi Tianyan, he is too weak. Where do you want to go? Yi Tianyan picked up the poison that fell on the ground. He grabbed Feng Wuyun and poured the poison into his mouth. Enjoy this poison. Feel how strong it is. As soon as the poison entered his stomach, Feng Wuyun screamed in pain. He grabbed his head and twisted it. It was as if something has pierced his head. The old ancestor of the spirit race can still speak normally. One can imagine how strong his willpower is. As an old ancestor of the spirit race, he has experienced too many things. He can endure this little pain. Most importantly, he knows that he can't relax. If the secret is exposed, it is equivalent to half of the spirit race being destroyed. Qingxian, how do we deal with him? Yi Tianyan asked. Yi Qingxian had already used her actions to answer. She took out her silver whip and fiercely lashed at Feng Wuyun's body. With a pa sound, the tyrannical silver whip hit Feng Wuyun. Ice instantly froze his body, and after a few consecutive lashes, Feng Wuyun's skin and flesh were lacerated. However, he was not lashed to death. She used the silver whip to bind him, making him unable to move. After 2 strikes from Yi Tianyan, Feng Wuyun was seriously injured and unable to move. Yi Tianyun's moves are getting more and more skillful. After 2 strikes, Feng Wuyun's bones have been shattered. Feng Wuyun can't move anymore. After a few more strikes from Yi Qingxian, Feng Wuyun is on the verge of death. Chapter 315. Ancestor. How do you feel now? After the elder ancestor was put down, he was still able to look at them with a calm gaze. This was already quite impressive. It's fine. Hurry up and leave this place. If you continue to stay here, it will be troublesome if you are discovered. The old ancestor's words were intermittent and weak. It was already amazing that he could even speak. If it was any other cultivator, they would have been dead by now. The reason why the ancestor could hold on for so long was because of his cultivation and mental power. But ancestor Yi Qingxian couldn't let the ancestor go. I can't hold on any longer. It's useless to save me. Just give me a quick death so that I can have some dignity. The ancestor said with a kind smile. He felt that he couldn't hold on any longer. After being tortured for so long, the poison had already taken root in his body. Even if he left this place, he wouldn't be able to live for long. How is that possible? We just need to find a good alchemist to get rid of the poison. Yi Qingxian shook her head. She didn't want to abandon the ancestor. This is a special poison pill from the Netherworld Empire. There is no antidote for it. It's very difficult to find an antidote for it. The ancestor shook his head. The recipe for this kind of poison pill was usually in the hands of the most important people. It was very difficult to get it back. Yi Qingxuan's eyes turned red. This ancestor had been taking care of her for a long time. He was like her family. How could she give him up like this? That's right. Feng Wuyan must have an antidote pill on him. Yi Qingxian quickly got up and went to Feng Wuyan's storage ring. She took it off and searched for the antidote pill inside the storage ring. Soon, she found the antidote pill. However, it wasn't a pill that could completely remove the poison. It was just a temporary antidote pill. Huh? You want an antidote pill? Impossible. You think that's an antidote pill? That's just my antidote pill. That old man is dead. Feng Wuyan laughed bitterly. He knew that he was going to die, but he didn't want to let them live a good life. This antidote pill was Feng Wuyan's own antidote pill. It was a temporary antidote for the poison pills that were controlled by him. Obviously, Feng Wuyan was also controlled by him. He didn't completely trust him. Speak. Where is the antidote pill? Yi Qingxian grabbed Feng Wuyan and made him tell her where the antidote pill was. Cough, cough, cough. The real antidote formula is with the Imperial Preceptor. If you have the ability, then snatch it. Ha! Otherwise, this old fellow is dead for sure. Feng Wuyan was not stingy at all in revealing the secret. He just wanted them to die. One could well imagine how powerful the Imperial Advisor was. He was definitely in existence, even more powerful than General Long. If one were to recklessly go and seize the pill recipe, it would be a dead end. Moreover, the State Preceptor usually stayed in the capital of the Netherworld, where the security was the strictest. In addition, the State Preceptor was extremely strong, so it was tantamount to sending a sheep into a tiger's mouth. Don't worry, let me see what kind of poison it is. Yi Tianyin extracted a bit of blood from the old ancestor's wound and used the appraisal eye to analyze the poison within. Very quickly, the poison was analyzed. This situation was the same as what had happened to Institute Lord Li. Both of them had been poisoned, and he had used the appraisal eye to analyze it. Then, he was able to concoct the perfect antidote. Not long after the analysis, a message popped up. Unable to analyze the poison. Yi Tianyin suddenly knows that the poison is more difficult to analyze. He's afraid that it's a higher-level spirit medicine, so the appraisal eye can't analyze it. Upgrade the appraisal eye. Without hesitation, he chose to upgrade the appraisal eye. Now that the appraisal eye was only at level 2, it was necessary to upgrade it. Ding, consumed 500,000 crazy point. Successfully upgraded appraisal eye to level 3. The next level requires 10 million crazy point. Ding, appraisal eye upgraded to level 3. Additional class, race details added. Analysis of martial art, divine rune, great array. Pill leveled up. The speed of inspection increased by 100%. After successfully upgrading the appraisal eye, whether it was the speed or the recognition rate, all of a sudden improved. Ding, successfully identified the poison effect. The poison pill name is Soul Devouring Pill. The materials are 50g of love flower, 50g of human face grass, 50g of heart eroding grass. Everything was analyzed one by one. The analysis speed was quite amazing. More detailed data was presented in front of him, so that he knew all the ingredients. Very good, I roughly understand. Yi Tianyin nodded, then quickly took out the purple fire divine furnace and prepared to start refining. Although the situation is urgent now, but old ancestor's poison is even more urgent. If he continues to rush, he won't be able to hold on for too long. He rummaged for a while and quickly found some elixirs, preparing to start refining. These miscellaneous spirit herbs, he can't say that they are very complete, but at least some of them are just right. Only a small part is in line. First, I will refine a poison relief pill to make Old Ancestor a little more comfortable. Yun took out a pile of spirit herbs, threw them in, and activated crazy alchemy mode. Suddenly, the speed of refining increased. After a while, it doesn't take too long for the pill to be successfully refined. It's done. Yun took out the antidote pill from the purple fire divine furnace and gave it to Yi Qingxian. Let the ancestor consume it. This is a temporary relief. If you want to really cure the poison, the number of spirit medicines is not enough. After we go, we will completely clear the poison in the ancestor's body. Impossible. How do you know the pill formula? Could it be that you casually refined it? Haha. If we were to casually refine an antidote pill, not only would we not be able to save this old fellow, we would instead cause his death. Even though Feng Wuyun was heavily injured and unable to move, he did not forget to ridicule him. Yi Qingxian did not hesitate. She picked up the pill and fed it to the ancestor. The ancestor didn't say anything more and just ate it, since he was going to die anyway. So what if he was trying to save a dead horse? After the ancestor consumed it, his complexion quickly improved, and the black qi on his body began to be suppressed. His originally trembling body greatly improved, and he no longer continued to tremble. I feel that my condition is much better. The feeling of my soul being torn apart has slowed down a lot. This was not nonsense. His tone could be heard. It had become very stable. Feng Wuyun, who was at the side, was dumbfounded. He did not expect it to really work. It's good that there's no problem. Qingxian, prepare to escape with the ancestor. I'll be in charge of opening the way, Yun said in a deep voice. Chapter 316. After the spirit race old ancestor took the detoxification pill, he felt much better. If it weren't for his severe injuries, he would have been able to move. As for Feng Wuyun, before they left, Yi Qingxian personally killed the traitor. Yi Qingxian spared his life because she wanted to ask him some questions. Since she couldn't get anything out of him, the traitor must die. Ding! Successfully killed Feng Wuyun. Reward: 370. 000 EXP4. 500 Crazy Point. 250 SBS. 1500 Divine Rune Proficiency Points. Obtain Martial Art, Heavenly Spirit Step, Spirit Breaking Finger. Obtain Soul Breaking Pin, High-Grade Soul Tool, Tyrant Rune Paper Rare. He didn't need to kill Feng Wuyun. Yun can get EXP. He had already calculated this, so when Yi Qingxian killed the traitor, he activated the crazy EXP mode. This bit of experience couldn't be wasted. Many a little makes a mickle. This Tyrant Rune Paper is really a lot. I can use it to open a path. Yun's eyes lit up. He has obtained this Tyrant Rune Paper, but he didn't use it much. This is a rare item. He didn't pay much attention to it before, but now, after a little check, he was immediately shocked. Tyrant Rune Paper greatly increases the success rate of carving and triples the effect. It's a very simple and crude effect, especially the triples effect, which is unimaginable in the Divine Rune world. They are all based on how much it can be enhanced, not how many times it can be enhanced. How many times stronger would it be? The higher the grade of the Divine Imprint, the stronger the effect. It's just that the difficulty is amazing. Yun carved 4 divine runes before. The difficulty has increased by leaps and bounds. These require a high level of proficiency to carve, otherwise it's impossible to carve. Now this Tyrant Rune Paper is so simple and crude. No matter what kind of divine rune is carved, it directly increases the effect by 3 times. No wonder it's called a rare item. This Tyrant Rune Paper is enough to set off a bloody storm in the Divine Rune world. Immediately, he took out a piece of Tyrant Rune Paper and carved Divine Rune on it. The difficulty is not high. It's just a 3rd-grade Divine Rune. But he didn't just carve. He carves multiple Divine Runes. The most important thing was that he was drawing as he walked, not wasting any time at all. Are you inscribing injury-type divine inscriptions? Yi Qingxian was stunned. Inscribing injury-type divine inscriptions at this moment, the spirit race patriarch next to him was already able to walk. He might not be able to run, but at least he could walk. When he saw Yun inscribing divine runes on his back, he took a quick glance. Yes, I don't have any divine runes on my weapon, so I want to draw a damage-type divine rune to increase its effects. Yun wanted to stick this damage rune on the Frost Divine bow. This way, he would be able to greatly increase the damage. Attacking from afar was better than attacking from close range. This way, he could kill everything in an instant from such a distance. It was definitely a great weapon to open up a path. Do you want us to wait for you? Xian asked. There's no need for that. I'll finish it quickly. In the next moment, Yun immediately activated Crazy Divine Rune Mode, instantly increasing the speed of drawing by 8 times. Berserk Mode was able to enhance almost all situations. Other than a few, it was able to enhance most situations. Regardless of whether it was inscribing divine imprints, forging, or concocting pills, the speed would be increased by 8 times. Swish! In an instant, he grabbed the soul-breaking brush that had dropped earlier and started drawing at an extremely fast speed. This left them dumbfounded. This speed was simply too fast. In the blink of an eye, a 3rd-grade damage-type divine rune was completed. However, this was not the end. He continued to draw. In the blink of an eye, the 3rd-grade divine rune had been added to the list. Following that, he continued to draw the 2nd level. He drew circle after circle, faster and faster. Moreover, his success rate was not a problem at all. In just a short while, he had reached the 5th level of the 3rd-grade divine rune. He was preparing to draw the 6th level. When they saw this, they could not help but gasp. Even if it was so fast, the success rate was so stable. The answer was so stable. With the heaven-defying effects of the Tyrant Rune paper, the success rate was quite shocking. Even when drawing the 6th level, he still had an 80% success rate. It was quite heaven-defying. Previously, the success rate was 100%. From now on, it was only dropping. He's already at the 6th level. The difficulty is no less than that of a Grandmaster-level divine rune, right? Xian was somewhat speechless. Yes, where did this young friend come from? He has reached such a level at such a young age. Even our spirit race is inferior to him. The spirit race patriarch's eyes flashed with a strange light. Well, it's a long story. Xian did not know where to start. If he could get the patriarch's help, the position of spirit king would be much easier. Yes, this young friend is not bad. It would be great if he was from our spirit race. The spirit race patriarch shook his head. Just as he was about to say something, he discovered that Yun had successfully inscribed the 6th level of the divine rune. He was preparing to continue with the 7th level. There were a total of 9 levels of divine runes. This was the same principle as alchemy. There were a total of 9 levels, and the higher the level, the more difficult it was. Now that he was already at the 7th level, the success rate had dropped to 50%. Originally, he wanted to use the Heaven's Eye to increase the success rate, but after thinking about it, he gave up. Forget it, I'll go with the 6th level. The bonus is enough. Only then did Yun stop. Both of them heaved a sigh of relief. If he could continue to inscribe, it would be really powerful. Even the spirit race patriarch would find it difficult to successfully inscribe the 7th level of a 3rd-grade divine rune. 6 levels of 3rd-grade divine runes. This is already heaven-defying. There's a 70% bonus effect. Xian exclaimed. The patriarch beside her also agreed. He felt that this was already very heaven-defying. Yun smiled and did not say anything. Under normal circumstances, there was indeed a 70% bonus effect. However, with the addition of the Tyrant Rune paper, it became a 1% bonus. He took out the Ice Divine Bow and stuck the Tyrant Rune paper on it. The Divine Runes quickly merged with the bow. Combined with the previous double damage effect, it became a quadruple damage increase. Let's go. I'll lead the way. Yun nodded and walked forward with them. Just after they turned a corner, they heard the sound of fighting coming from the front. They were shocked and quickly rushed over. They were shocked to see the guards fighting with the spirit race. The spirit race was barely able to resist, but there was no way they could fight back. At this time, Ichinyun's eyes were cold, and he quickly raised the ice divine bow in his hand and pulled it, and 3 arrows shot out. The arrows pierced the 3 guards in front of him and nailed them to the wall. Then they were quickly frozen, and they couldn't be more dead. Chapter 3:17. 3 arrows instantly killed the guards. Then he quickly pulled the ice divine bow to the fullest, and 3 more arrows appeared on the bowstring. In the blink of an eye, he shot the arrows again and nailed the guards to the wall. In an instant, 6 guards were killed. 2 of them were in the spirit core stage, but they were pierced by the arrows. Etianyun instantly killed all the guards, which attracted the attention of the spirit race. When they saw Etianyun, who suddenly appeared to help them, their eyes were filled with surprise and gratitude. It's the old ancestor. When they saw the old ancestor of the spirit clan, they were all surprised. After all, when they saw that their old ancestor was fine and could still walk, they were relieved. At least they didn't see his body. It didn't matter if he was injured. They were afraid that they would never see him again. They all gathered to care about the old ancestor's condition. One could imagine how high the old ancestor's prestige in the spirit clan was. Everyone, we are ready to kill our way out. You all follow behind me, and I will lead the way. Let's kill our way out together. Etianyun raised the ice divine bow in his hand and glanced at them, indicating that they should listen to him. Okay, let's kill our way out together. They all roared, full of vigor. Etianyun's performance just now gave them too many surprises, giving them enough hope. Etianyun's appeal was extraordinary, and it immediately drove their momentum. Then, without saying much, he nodded to Yi Qingxian and rushed forward, rushing out of the passage. The spirit clan behind him quickly followed, and Yi Qingxian chose to stay at the back to protect the situation. Under the leadership of Etianyun, they quickly rushed out. After a period of adjustment, their situation had greatly improved, and ordinary battles were not a problem. Why did you come out? Immediately, the guards in the distance saw the situation, and when they saw a group of Spirit Clan people rushing over, they were all shocked. The Spirit Clan people were locked in a cage, and even they didn't have the keys. Now that they had rushed out, they were all shocked. When they wanted to call for help, a few ice arrows pierced through them and nailed them to the wall. Then they were quickly frozen into ice sculptures. Even if the arrow pierced through them and didn't kill them, the terrifying freezing power was enough to freeze them to death. Ding! Successfully killed the guard. Reward, 250. 000 EXP. 3440 Crazy Point. 150 SBS. He had obtained Dragon Soul Slash and Ferocious Tiger Fist. Items obtained: Sky Soul Blade, low-grade soul tool. Soul Driving Armor, low-grade soul tool. Ding! Successfully killed the guard. Gained 160,000 experience. One by one, the guards were killed by him from afar. There was no difficulty at all. It was a piece of cake. He didn't even need to get close before he was nailed to the wall by the Ice Frost Divine Bow. The tyrannical power was unstoppable. Go! Etianyun didn't stop and continued to lead them forward. When they arrived at the area where they were tortured, many guards looked over and were shocked by the situation. However, what greeted them was a cold arrow that nailed them to the wall. Run! Run! Ah! Call for help! Ah! Regardless of whether they tried to escape or rush over to resist, it was all meaningless. He could kill them one by one just by standing at the entrance of the passageway. Combined with his powerful mental power, no one could dodge his attacks, and he would definitely hit his target. After killing them, Etianyun quickly searched for the keys on their bodies and released all the cultivators from the prison one by one. All the spirit race cultivators came to help Etianyun. He rescued all the cultivators here and fed them medicinal pills to recover their strength. Thank you. Thank you. They were so grateful that they were about to cry. After being tortured for so long, they were finally freed. No need to thank me. Let's rush out together. We haven't really escaped from here yet, so it's still dangerous, Etionyan said to them. After they recovered their mobility, because they were tortured for so long, it was not convenient for them to move, but they could still follow behind Etionyan. We know, at least there is hope, right? As long as we can escape, I will destroy the Netherworld Empire. Yes, even if I die, I will fight against the Netherworld Empire until the end. When I was captured and tortured here, I thought that as long as I can get out of here, I will fight against the Netherworld Empire for the rest of my life. They were filled with righteous indignation and decided to fight against the Netherworld Empire for the rest of their lives. They had been tortured here for so long. If they had provoked the Netherworld Empire before, it would have been fine. But some of them had done nothing and were forced to come here. How could they not be angry? All right, let's get out of here and save all the people who are in prison here, Etionyan said. All of them nodded to show that they would follow his orders. There were many cultivators who were at the core transformation stage, but they had been tortured for so long and they were poisoned, so they couldn't even use half of their cultivation. But from the beginning, Etionyan didn't use them as the main force. He just needed to rely on himself to get out of here. Following that, a group of people rushed out in a grandiose manner. As long as they saw a guard, they would shoot an arrow at it without saying a word, killing the guard. Soon, they arrived at the prison area. When they arrived, they could still hear angry roars from inside. You dogs of the Netherworld Empire! If I don't die, I will kill you all. Hee, you won't have this chance. Who can come here and save you? But don't think too much. I will kill you now. Let's see how you get back at me. At this time, a figure appeared in the passage, followed by an ice arrow that nailed them to the ground or the wall. What's going on? When they saw a group of people rushing towards them, they were scared. How could so many people be released? By the time they reacted, it was already too late. They had completely bid farewell to this world. Open the cage here and let everyone out, Etionyan said to the people who were dragged out of the prison. There were a lot of people in this prison, so it would take a long time for Etionyan to open the cage alone. After they realized what was going on, they quickly found the keys from the guard's body and began to open the door. After the door was opened, the people inside rushed out and looked at Etionyan with extreme gratitude. Thank you so much for your help, big hero. I am Wang Hu. My life is yours now. I will listen to your instructions from now on. Me too. My life is yours from now on. I will do whatever you want me to do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Many people were so grateful to Wang Hu that they didn't know what to say. You don't need to thank me too much for now. We haven't completely escaped from here yet. Let's kill our way out, Etionyan shouted. Kill our way out. Chapter 3:18. Etionyan didn't say anything. After all the cultivators were rescued, they rushed out of the prison. Fortunately, these guards were not very flexible in reporting the situation. Obviously, they were in a safe state, so they didn't have any jade pendants with them. Therefore, they couldn't call for help in time. When the guards inside the Netherworld prison noticed them, they rushed out crazily. However, no matter how strong they were still at the core transformation stage. What's going on? Are they all released? In the hall outside the Netherworld prison, many guards were stunned when they saw a large group of cultivators rushing out of the Netherworld prison. They never thought that a group of cultivators would rush out of the Netherworld prison like this. Catch them all. We can't let them escape. Whoever resists will die. Whoever dares to resist will die. Inform the general. There is an emergency in the Netherworld prison. There were core transformation stage cultivators in the prison, and some of them were even the ministers in charge of the prison. They immediately took out their jade pendants and crushed them to send out a distress signal. Obviously, General Long wasn't here. If he had nothing to do, he wouldn't be here. Moreover, the Netherworld Empire had a lot of other things to deal with in addition to the spirit race, so there were a lot of things that they couldn't deal with. 3 core transformation stage powerhouses quickly rushed out and took out their most powerful weapons and attacked Etionyan fiercely. All of a sudden, they burst out with their strongest power. The murderous aura filled the entire hall. Many cultivators' faces changed dramatically. They felt very helpless in the face of core transformation stage cultivators. If they resisted, it would be a one-sided slaughter. While everyone's hearts were trembling, the 3 arrows had already pierced through their bodies in the blink of an eye, sending them flying backward. 2 of them were nailed to the wall, the cold air constantly eroding their bodies, freezing them up and rendering them unable to move at all. The other one was wearing a hard armor, so the arrow didn't penetrate his body. However, the impact of the arrow still sent him flying. He vomited blood, and the cold air invaded his body, greatly reducing his movement speed. But before he could get up, an ice arrow pierced through his body and nailed him to the wall. His eyes widened as he stared at Etienne. He didn't expect Etienne's attack to be so casual. After all, he was wearing a high-grade soul armor and was even reinforced with powerful divine imprints. Yet, he was still pierced through. The way he looked at Etienne gradually became blurry, and then he completely lost consciousness. Etienne looked at them coldly. If 1 arrow wasn't enough, then 2 arrows would be fired. After the Frost Divine Bow was imbued with the damage rune, it became 4 times the damage. He didn't even need to activate the crazy damage mode to be able to instantly kill everything. Just a casual arrow shot by him would have a battle prowess as high as 10 million. It was unstoppable. This scene shocked a lot of people. Before Etienne killed a core condensation stage cultivator, the strongest spirit core stage cultivator, it was still acceptable for him to be instantly killed. Such a powerful core transformation stage cultivator was also killed by a single arrow. It was not difficult at all. This caused them to be dumbfounded. This was really killing gods and Buddhas if they encountered gods and Buddhas. What a terrifying power! With him here, how can we not escape? Yes, with this great hero here, we can definitely escape. All of them were excited, and the hope in their hearts was burning. They felt that they could get out of this damned place and successfully escape. They thought so, and so did Etienne. With his current overbearing power, as long as it wasn't a void spirit stage cultivator, he could easily kill them. Then Etienne continued to madly kill the guards. He shot a few arrows at them, and all of them were pierced by the arrows. The most shocking thing was that he quickly swept over and put away the storage rings they were wearing. This made Yi Qingxian, who was at the back, roll her eyes. This guy doesn't forget to make money. Core transformation stage cultivator's net worth is not bad. How can he miss this opportunity? The old ancestor of the spirit race couldn't help but smile. He admired Etienne's action very much. If I were him, I would also do the same. Cultivation needs a lot of resources. How can he waste them? Well, Yi Qingxian certainly didn't have any objection to Etienne's action. The problem was that in such an urgent situation, Etienne still didn't forget to make money. Etienne doesn't want to do this. If he wasn't so poor and running a sect requires too many resources, he certainly wouldn't let go of any opportunity to get resources. Each and every core transformation stage cultivator was fat, so naturally, he wouldn't miss this opportunity. Along the way, Etienne and Yi Qingxian quickly killed their way to the exit. There weren't many guards at the exit. When they saw Etienne and Yi Qingxian rushing towards them, their faces changed, and they quickly prepared to block their attacks. However, they were too weak, so they were easily killed by Etienne and Yi Qingxian's arrows. The gate is in front of us. We can go out as soon as we open the gate. Etienne shouted and took the lead to rush towards the gate. He opened the gate and pushed it open with all his might. Zhang. The gate made a loud noise and began to open bit by bit. It had to be said that this thing was really heavy, and it took a lot of effort to push it open. Let's hurry and help the big hero open the gate. With a roar, they quickly rushed over and pushed the door open. With the help of many people, the speed of opening the gates suddenly increased a lot. When a big gap appeared, all the cultivators rushed out as if they saw the light of hope. We finally came out! We finally came out! After rushing out, they shouted loudly, greedily breathing the outside air, feeling that everything was so beautiful. It should be said that living was so beautiful when a group of people swarmed out. At the same time, there was a roar coming from inside. Roar, roar, roar. It was like a dragon's roar, coming from the innermost part of the prison. Soon, the ground shook, as if a huge monster rushed out from inside. Go, go! Yi Qingxian commanded her people to escape from the back. There were too many people here. All the prisoners added up to thousands of people, so it was difficult to evacuate too quickly. At this time, a few huge beasts suddenly rushed out from the passage behind them. They looked like dragons, but they didn't have wings. Their bodies were covered in thick dragon scales, which looked very hard. They strode forward with their huge bodies and crazily pounced over. They were like a small mountain, stomping over fiercely. Earth Dragon, it's an Earth Dragon! You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.